According to the Gauteng government, the wardens approached a suspicious-looking Avanza filled with individuals dressed entirely in black. As they approached, the occupants in the car pulled out automatic rifles and fired at the wardens. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi expressed gratitude. There were no fatalities.
I appreciate that they took a bullet on behalf of all of us, because you don't know 11 to 20 people carrying AK-47 where would have ended if they were not disturbed by these young men and women. I wish them a speedy recovery. Ask the team to compile us a full report just to check indeed that the necessary protocols were followed.
The shooting occurred near an informal settlement in Davidson, known for harboring illegal miners. However, the motive is still under investigation. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News, Alberton.
In the courts now, alleged underworld figure Vusimuzi Cat Matlala will remain behind bars until next week after the Alexandra Magistrates Court reserved judgment in his bail application. The 49-year-old businessman is accused of ordering a hit on his ex-girlfriend, actress Tebogo Tobejane, in December of 2023. Matlala, his wife and 3 others face charges ranging from attempted murder and conspiracy to commit murder to money laundering. Mongezi Koko reports.
The defense told the court that the state has failed to produce direct evidence such as fingerprints or ballistics linking Matlala to the alleged hit. However, prosecutors argued that circumstantial evidence, including phone records, messages and bank transfers, paints a compelling picture of his involvement. The state also highlighted what it called red flags in his affidavit, including multiple trips to Eswatini, destroyed cell phones and a fake identity document. Magistrate Data Prinsloo postponed the matter for a formal ruling.
Sir, the matter is in postponed for judgment until 17 September. I'm diarising it for 11 o'clock in the morning. Thank you. Then the applicant may step down.
Until then, Matlala will remain in custody. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News.
A suspect has been arrested for trying to smuggle a firearm into the Wynberg Magistrates Court today in the Western Cape. This arrest comes as Deputy Minister Andries Nel visited the Athlone Magistrates Court where a shooting took place last Friday. In April, a man was shot and killed inside the same court building after 2 firearms were smuggled in by a suspect. 5 people are currently facing murder charges related to that attack. Ntutuzelo Nene has more.
Malfunctioning metal detectors at the Wynberg Magistrates Court was singled out as a contributor to security breaches inside that court building. Justice and Constitutional Development Deputy Minister Andries Nel says the situation has improved since.
We're also very happy to announce that at that same court, earlier today, our security officials using those metal detectors were able to detect successfully an attempt to smuggle a firearm into that court.
Nel also visited the Athlone Magistrates Court today, where a man was shot dead while entering the court building last week Friday. Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News in Athlone.
And in France, the trial of the doctor accused of intentionally poisoning his patients has now begun. Frédéric Penchier is alleged to have poisoned 30 child and adult patients between 2008 and 2017, 12 of whom died. The 53-year-old worked at 2 clinics when patients went into cardiac arrest under suspicious circumstances. His youngest alleged victim was a 4-year-old identified as Teddy, who survived 2 cardiac arrests during a routine tonsillitis operation in 2016. Pechier, a father of 3, now faces life in prison if he is found guilty. Gold is trading at $3,612.17 an ounce. The rand is at 17.56 to the dollar, 23.72 to the pound, 20.58 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $65.50 a barrel.
Midrand heading towards Centurion, traffic still sluggish. This is on the N1 northbound between the Butler interchange and Allendale. Also bumper traffic. This is if you're traveling through the Devland area due to roadworks on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue.
And in your sport, Springboks make 7 changes to their starting lineup for the second Rugby Championship clash against the All Blacks. Carlos Alcaraz once again world number 1 after US Open success, and Spurs rejects takeover interest.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 27 and 29 degrees. The top story in EWN, Parliament's Communications Committee Chairperson Kusela Sangoni Diko has warned that the SABC is on the brink of collapse.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Very good afternoon, everyone. It's 8 minutes past 3 on Monday, September the 8th. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Wherever you're listening to us in 702 land, welcome to the show. The murder last Friday of lawyer Reeva Steenkamp, who was involved in business rescue work, has raised fears that men and women doing this crucial job may withdraw, leaving the criminals victorious on this particular battlefield even more emboldened to commit financial crime. More on that after 5. Some other stories we're covering. What has the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry got done so far? And is the judge and his team ready for the tough tasks ahead? As I speak, Jeremy Michaels, communications head for the commission, is briefing the media. I can see him on a couple of TV screens that I have in the studio here. Our colleague Oren Singh is there listening in. He'll join us with an update after 4. Have you cut back on the household help you get? A new study shows that nearly 20% of South Africa's domestic workers have lost their jobs over the past financial year alone. So that would be March 24 to the end of February 25. Lorandi Kriel is CEO of Sweep South, who compiled the data. She talks to us at 10 to 4. And there's a rather awful story out about an absolute torrent of online abuse aimed at June Steenkamp, the mother, of course, of Reeva Steenkamp. This after news that she's had a very, very damaging stroke indeed and is in need of assistance. The online abuse has been vindictive in the extreme, but the question we want to ask, and pitched more broadly than just the specific instance, is what can somebody who's facing that kind of abuse actually do? Can you track down the people who are sending vicious messages? And if you do, is there anything that the law allows you to actually try and get done? We'll talk about that to Emma Sadlier, who's an expert in this field, joining us at about 25 minutes past 3. We've got all that and a whole lot more on 702 Drive, including breaking news from the roads in our regular traffic updates, and the latest from the markets. The JSE is off to a great start to the week. The all-share up by 925 points, led by the Resources Index, which is up by 2.75. Pan-African Resources leading the way, up by 8.4%. Gold miners, in case you didn't know. Valterra, who mine platinum, up by 5.2%. Investec has gained 6% on a good day for financials as well. The rand is currently trading at 17.57 against the dollar. 20 rand 60 will buy you a euro. A pound will cost 23 rand and 78 cents. The oil price has gone up substantially today. Brent crude increasing in price by $1.38 and currently trading at $66.88 a barrel. Stephen Critters joins us with all the details at 25 minutes past 4. Anthony Teixeira, you heard a moment ago. Boy, big changes to the Springbok team. 7 changes for the second test against the All Blacks. Maybe you've got a view on that. Anthony with us at 20 to 4. Mbali Dlamini has the latest news headlines. And Karabo Chale is keeping an eye on the roads. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live. And if it's happening in 702 land and we don't know about it, of course, we do our best to bring you everything we can first. But there's always stuff that you might see that we don't know. Put on your reporter's hat, please. And as part of the 702 family, tip us off, give us a call, 072 7021 702. Or if you want to talk to us, actually, on 011 883 0702. This is 702 Drive. It's 12 past 3.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
So as always, we have lots to talk about, lots to inquire about, lots to think about, and occasionally some of those thoughts are not necessarily random, but they're not necessarily at all to do with what's in the news or what's dominating the serious conversation. Sometimes we just pluck out things that are a little bit random. Not entirely random in the topic that I'm about to put forward to you. So over the weekend, I had a fabulous weekend because I went to a party on a farm on the border between the Free State and KZN. So 3.5 hour drive out from Joburg. Absolutely gorgeous location. About 65 people. Cold weather. Incredible food. The occasion was a birthday of somebody of advanced years. Let me just say that. But there was a mix. There were little kids scurrying around, raising hell. For some reason, and maybe that's what happens when people who live in rural areas, many of them farmers, gather, people bring their dogs. So there are dogs all over the place. There was, as I said, absolutely fabulous food, the freshest lamb you're going to get, because I think I saw the sheep on my way in before it ended up on my plate. But yeah, and then there were younger generation, there were people in their 30s, 40s, a really rich mix of people. And it made me wonder this, because I think the language most used there was probably Afrikaans, or there was a fair bit of English being spoken as well. Made me think, who in South Africa throws the best parties? And I really want you to stretch your mind on this. So you don't have to, for example, say it's Afrikaners or it's South Africans who are Pedi or Zulus or whatever, or Italians. You might say the best parties are thrown by lawyers, or plumbers, or car salespeople, or rugby teams, or tennis clubs, or whatever. You can range as far as and wide as you like. Nobody throws a bash quite like the people at my church. If you want to go cultural, ethnic, that's also fine. My secret agenda on this is obviously to compile a list, keep your numbers, and then make sure that Karabo Kabazela, Rifue Karabo, the other Karabo, and Tolokele and myself get invitations because, I could do with a widening of my jawling experience. But seriously, though, call us 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. Who in South Africa throws the best parties? And if you're going to say me, well, then we're definitely coming round. Jonathan Fairbairn, who throws the best parties? Are you the biggest jaw on the team? Possibly.
Well, I mean,
off a very low base, I have to say.
Yeah. Look, I don't know if I'm the biggest party animal, but I did have a big one on Saturday, and I regretted it on Sunday morning. But I still managed to get up and play golf and won. So yeah, that was.
Were the other people in the full ball at the party?
One was, the one wasn't.
Okay.
So he doesn't have an excuse. I would say the people who throw great parties are the ones who work hard.
Yes.
And then play hard, but they are the ones who are very chilled when you go to their house.
Okay.
So as soon as you walk in, you feel completely welcome, and you feel at home. Where you're not going to feel like, if I'm missing a little bit of wine here, or if I'm dancing on their carpet in the lounge, they're going to say something. They just make you feel like my house is your house.
Yes.
And then you can relax, and obviously you'll be respectful once you're there, but they are not going to be like cleaning the floors when you're standing there, or if there's crumbs falling all over the place, they straight away they go and pick it up, because then you're going to feel a little bit on edge and a little bit. So mine is the person who works hard, and then on the weekends they want to unwind, but they are relaxed and they make you feel like my home is your home.
So that's a personality type, but no category. So that you're not saying this is more common amongst radio hosts than it is amongst carpenters or whatever.
Go that far. I mean, look, they say running clubs throw really good parties.
Yes.
But, what happens at a running club party stays at a running club
Well,
party.
I'd have to start running, I suppose, if it's to crack a knot. How about you, Karabo Chale? Who throws the best? The best parties?
Well, I have to say 947 Joburg Day, the party is on Saturday was really, really nice. But to break it down to my closest friends, my Afrikaner friends throw the best parties.
Really? Why?
They feed you throughout the days, from Poikikos to the late prize, and then they can drink you under the table. I don't know. They have no limit, those people. I don't know. But I always have fun when I go there because, like Jonah said, you don't feel uncomfortable. They're all chilled and relaxed. You what you call maybe pour a little bit of wine on their carpet. They'll be like, no, don't worry.
Brandewijn, it's Brandewijn. Not wine, Brandewijn.
They'll be chilled about because they know we're all relaxed and nothing uptight about it.
And it was a red carpet anyway. So.
But yeah.
So okay, so we're nudging our way there, but I really want to hear from you. And who in South Africa throws the best parties? Give us a call. And even though I jokingly said that if we hear about a fabulous way of throwing parties, and I said we would keep your name and your number and we would call you, I was joking, but I kind of wasn't. So don't be surprised if you get a call. 18 minutes past 3, those messages please to 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. You are listening to 702 Drive. You may be in your car. You probably want to know what's happening in the traffic. Karabo, update us, please.
Well, at this stage in the Midrand area, slow-moving traffic, N1 North from the Butlu interchange all the way to Allendale, while in Devland, we still have traffic pressure. This is due to roadworks on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue. In the Kempton Park area, traffic remains a bit sluggish. This is on Pretoria Road between Plain and CR Swart. If you're traveling through Edenville, heading towards Bedfordview, there's an accident scene. This is on the R24 westbound near Edenville Road, causing delays from the R20 from the N12 split. Also look out for those faulty traffic lights in the Randburg area at Malibongo Drive and Mahogany. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
You've been in this game for a good few decades. Do you get the sense that things are getting much worse?
The only way we can answer that question is to say that bad actors are literally acting with impunity. Nobody seems safe, whether it's journalists, whether it's whistleblowers, whether it's investigators, insolvency practitioners, all are at risk. And it just shows us that with lack of consequence and accountability, people are acting out on what can only be termed one's worst nightmare.
Chad Thomas, crime expert from IRS Forensic Investigations.
The Midday Report
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
AVI Josie is back. AVI Josie 2025 is back, where creativity and technology meet. Join us at Summer Place in Hyde Park, Johannesburg from 13 to 14 September for cutting-edge masterclasses, workshops, live demos in film, animation, VFX, AI, gaming, and interactive tech. This year's theme, Heart of Steel, celebrates bold creators striving in the age of AI and disruption. Expect local and international experts to share their knowledge in workshops, tech showcases, game jams, portfolio reviews, and interactive sessions. And it's completely free. Register now at avijosie.com.
Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for pharmacies, convenience stores, beauty salons, and more. Corne?
Business Outsurance is definitely the best insurance for my business. Sold out every other insurance house. Honestly, looking at what you need, my installment came down within a day. Definitely the most professional.
Switch to Business Outsurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Visit outsurance.co.za. Switch and save today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
What do partners of the Gates Foundation do when facing the world's toughest challenges? They keep going. From discovering a plastic drape that helps detect excessive postpartum bleeding faster, to developing better bed nets to kill malaria-carrying mosquitoes, to researching an RSV vaccine that could save hundreds of thousands of children. For every problem, there are people who prove that progress is possible. The Gates Foundation, partners of human potential. Learn more at gatesfoundation.org/keep going.
When it comes to protecting your workforce, trust the workwear brand that has been protecting workers for over 150 years, Sweetall. Sweetall has overalls and uniform solutions for every industry, so your team is safe, comfortable, and ready to tackle any challenge. Visit our new Boksburg showroom, shop A1 Atlas Road, Westwood, Boksburg, or go to sweetall.com today. Sweetall, we never let you down. Superior protective workwear since 1871.
Looking for real ways to live greener? Then don't miss Green Tip of the Week, your weekly dose of sustainable inspiration. From eco-entrepreneurs to climate champions, we sit down with the people making real change. Catch Green Tip of the Week every Tuesday on Afternoon Drive with me, John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m. Only on 702. Proudly brought to you by Volvo. It's safe to be brave with Volvo.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, let's pick up on one of the stories that Mbali Dlamini was leading with earlier in the bulletin. The alleged underworld figure, Vusimbuzi Kat Matlala, back in the Alex Magistrates Court, where his bail application is continuing. Presumably, this has been opposed vigorously by the state, but let's get an update from this. From our EWN reporter, Mongezi Koko. Mongezi, a very good afternoon to you. So I believe Mr. Matlala has to wait another week.
That's right.
What went on in the court? What were the key points being made?
Well, good afternoon, Dr. John. Essentially, the defense today then scrutinized really the state's opposition to Matlala's release on bail. Now, some of the things that were pointed out in the affidavit presented to the court by Matlala included that he does not own a number of assets, which the state claims that he does. These include a private jet, a boat, an offshore account in Mauritius with an amount of $100,000 US, which is roughly 1.8 million rand.
Yes.
He's now said that amount was initially deposited years ago. However, a lot of issues then came out, including a fake identity document from the Kingdom of Eswatini, which has Matlala's face on it, allegedly, and also includes a fake surname being Dlamini. So a number of issues were coming through. These were being debated by both the state and the defense. They spoke at length about the evidence brought forward. Most of it does not include physical evidence. So we don't have DNA, we don't have fingerprints, we don't have ballistics linking Matlala to the actual commission of the crime. But I do just want you to take a listen to what had to be said in court.
They haven't been able to point to any direct involvement or indirect involvement or circumstantial involvement that points a finger towards the accused. We say that shows how weak the state's case is, and for that reason alone, he ought to be released on bail.
Okay, so what's that? That's his defense
Correct.
saying. Okay, so what are the prosecutors saying in response?
Now, of course, the prosecution really didn't have much to go on, considering that the evidence they've presented is circumstantial, but this is what they had to say in rebuff.
Yes, we don't have a smoking gun, so to speak, against the applicant, but there is strong circumstantial evidence that this court cannot ignore.
So we wait another week to find out what's happening. A court case that doesn't directly speak to what's going to be before the Madlanga Commission yet, but it is very much linked to the setting up of that inquiry. Even as we speak, there's a briefing being given to the media. Thank you to, by the way, Mongezi Koko for that, being given by Jeremy Michaels, who is a spokesperson for the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Seated with him, by the way, Advocate Matthew Chaskelson, who was very much involved in the Zondo Commission. So, interested to hear what comes out of that. After 4, we'll get an update from our colleague Oren Singh. 26 minutes past 3.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Well, there's a story on News 24 today. I'll read you the headline. I think it pretty much sums up what's going on. Reeva Steenkamp's mother, June, faces torrent of online abuse after stroke. Now, June Steenkamp, as some of you may well know, a 79-year-old mother of the murdered Reeva Steenkamp, has suffered a stroke. Her lawyer, Tanya Kun, had made this public, and it said if anyone was willing to assist in supporting her to get the treatment she needed, that would be most welcome. The online abuse and samples of it indicate that it is not only voluminous, but extraordinarily vicious and spiteful as well. The broader question, though, is this is sadly not the first time this kind of thing has happened. And it really does raise the question as to, can anyone do anything about it? Or is this something you simply have to endure? It's clear from the story that Karen Morn wrote on News 24 that some of the people are identifiable and traceable because she approached them for comment and an explanation as to why they were doing what they did. None was forthcoming, but it's not as if these people are completely anonymous, certainly not all of them. Emma Sadlier is social media law specialist at the digital law company, expert in these matters, and joins us now. Ms. Sadlier, welcome and thanks very much for your time. If this is happening to you or someone you know or someone you care about, is there anything you can do, or is this simply something that falls into the many cracks in the digital law space?
Yeah, thank you so much for talking about this, because as much as this is a specific issue relating to June Steenkamp, cyberbullying, harassment, threats, incitement is something that so many social media users endure. So, I mean, in short, there are a lot of things you can do. From a criminal law point of view, you can lay a criminal charge of crimen injuria if somebody has seriously infringed your dignity. And we have a number of cases, John, which confirm that you can lay a crimen injuria charge in cyberbullying cases. And particularly, I mean, if we look at some of the comments that were published underneath the Bakabuddy campaign, which was launched by June Steenkamp's lawyer, I should add, without her knowledge, because she's not capable at the moment, which is, I just added, I mean, you know, people are saying in the comments that she's milking her daughter's death, and she's not even the one who's posted this plea for assistance. But be that as it may, you can lay a criminal charge of crimen injuria, and now, because often the cyberbullying stems into threatening contacts, threats of violence, threats of damage to property under the Cyber Crimes Act, which is a very new piece of law. It's only been around for about 2 years. You can lay a criminal charge if somebody sends you electronic threats. There's also an option to get a protection order under the Protection from Harassment Act, which is colloquially referred to as the cyberbullying law. So you take your evidence off to the clerk at your local magistrate's court and explain how you're being harassed, threatened, stalked online.
Right.
And in most instances, John, they will give you an interim protection order. That system does get abused occasionally, but I have had a huge success obtaining interim protection orders, even for teenagers who are being cyberbullied. And then I think that you sort of touched on it, but the sort of consequence culture, the naming and shaming, the fact that these people were seemingly writing these awful things under their own names. I can tell you that if one of those people worked for me and I'd seen they'd published that content on a public platform and were bringing my name, my company's name into disrepute, they would certainly face disciplinary action at work.
Yeah, it's interesting that you raised that, because I was going to ask you this. Is that a reasonable response? I know there's the two wrongs don't make a right and so on, but if you're looking to fight back, is that something that, you know, perhaps you've advised people to do? Say, well, you know, why don't give their boss a ring and say, hey, listen, this is what John Perlman does in his spare time?
Absolutely. And we've seen that happen for the last decade in South Africa. Naming and shaming. It's almost like it's sort of digital vigilantism, but I don't use the word necessarily negatively in that context. But you know, my experience is that when people mess up in the real world, maybe there's horrific domestic violence, or somebody goes on a racist rant, or a road rage attack, very quickly, usually, people find out where does that person work, and that's very often with the help of a platform like LinkedIn, and then put pressure on the employer in a very public way to take disciplinary action against that employee on the basis that, you know, they've brought the company into disrepute. It's quite a broad category, that, John, and I still see a lot of people say, oh, but what about my personal capacity? We've had many cases, and most recently a Labour Appeals Court case, confirming that there is no such thing as personal capacity, that you are who you are in the real world when you go online. And if you post a vile comment on a Facebook page, even if it's on a Saturday night outside of work hours, outside of work premises, and on a personal page in your personal device, that still has the potential to bring your employer into disrepute, and disciplinary action up to dismissal can be taken. So for me, reputation is very important in the digital age. And I know people hate the term cancel culture, but I think maybe let's talk about consequence culture. If you're going to say terrible, terrible things, then I think you should face the consequences, whether those are reputational or disciplinary or legal.
Thank you so much. Emma Sadlier joining us from the Digital Law Company. She's a social media law specialist. I'm keen and interested to know if you've been bullied or threatened or in any way had your life disturbed by people on social media. I mean, what kind of response did you have? And were you able to maybe fight them off, or indeed, as I liked Emma's phrase, consequence culture, suggest to them that, well, okay, carry on if you like, but this may not end well for you. Give us a call on that on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. 27 minutes to 4. Mbali Dlamini joins us now with the very latest eyewitness news. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. We begin in KZN, where the Umgeni local municipality has welcomed the additional charges added in the case of a traditional leader accused of killing DA councillor Ntlalayenza Ndlovu. Ndlovu was shot and killed in December of 2023 in front of his wife and children. The man accused of killing him, Eric Zuma, has also been charged with the murder of Xolani Ntombela, who was shot and killed in 2022. Umgeni Deputy Mayor Sandile Mnigati.
It's concerning, but also at the same time, having understood the individual that we are dealing with at the moment and the things that are coming out of this, it's not surprising.
As the inquisitive fights for bail in the matter of the councillor, Mnigati says he is hoping the accused is denied bail.
Obviously, we'd like for him not to get bail. We don't believe that it's in the best interest of justice.
In the Western Cape now, a police sergeant has been questioned on how he retrieved a firearm used at a nightclub shooting linked to the high-profile trial of alleged underworld gang boss Jerome Donkey Boyson. Boyson and his co-accused face charges, including charges related to the murder of steroid king Brian Weinstein in 2017. The case also highlights a nightclub security war between Boyson and alleged underworld figures Colin Boyson and Nafis Modak. Carlo Peterson has more.
SABC Sergeant Dominic Majid took the stand today as a witness for the state related to two arrests he made in 2017. At the time, the state alleges Boyson and the now deceased Mark Liffman paid some of the accused to cause disruptions at certain nightclubs in Cape Town. Majid detailed how he and his partner acted on a call-out about a robbery before arresting one of the accused, Kashif Hanslow, in Newfields. Hanslow, along with two other suspects, was arrested in possession of a firearm used in a shooting at Cocoa Bar nightclub in May 2017. It's the state's case. The incident was related to a disagreement between brothers Colin and Jerome Boyson, resulting in Colin joining their rival, alleged underworld gang boss Nafis Modak. The trial continues. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News, Western Cape High Court.
We'll shift our focus to this now. A new study at the Stellenbosch University suggests that fathers who drink excessively could contribute to fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. Researchers found that a father's drinking habits can have a small but direct impact on a child's development. According to the study, between 66% and 77% of fathers with children on the FAS spectrum drank during their partner's pregnancies. Dr. Marlene de Vries from Stellenbosch University says a father's alcohol consumption can affect a child's development by age 7.
Our findings show that children whose fathers drank alcohol were more likely to be shorter, have smaller heads, and score lower on verbal IQ tests, even when the mother didn't drink.
And in Nepal, at least 16 protesters have been killed after police fired rubber bullets, tear gas and water cannons to disperse demonstrators demanding the government lift its ban on social media. Several social media sites, including Facebook, YouTube and X, have been inaccessible in Nepal since Friday. This after government blocked 26 unregistered platforms, leaving users angry and confused. Waving national flags, young demonstrators in the capital started the protest protest today with the national anthem before unleashing chants against the ban as well as corruption. Violence erupted in the streets as police charged the protesters, some of whom climbed over the wall into Parliament's premises. It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 27 and 29 degrees.
Midrand, still slow-moving traffic heading towards Pretoria, N1 northbound between the Interchange and Allendale. Rosebank, traffic pressure on Glenhove Road. This is between Oxford and the M1. And in Devland, we still have those roadworks causing delays on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue.
The top story in EWN, the Umgeni local municipality in KZN has welcomed the additional charges added in the case of a traditional leader accused of killing a DA councillor.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
We have over 700 new Metro Police officers who will be graduating, and many of those will be deployed to, in fact, 5, I think, on average per ward, to work alongside the SAPS in order to obviously fight social ills.
We are always striving for working together with various law enforcement agencies, and that is why we signed the cooperation agreement last year already. We will bring our resources. Let us join hands together.
Brigadier Linda Mate, national spokesperson for the South African Policing Services.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
Medical care, like music, needs continuity, a steady rhythm and pattern. Patients attended to on time, medication taken as prescribed. Cut the rhythm, and it falls apart. Right now, global funding cuts are restricting access to healthcare. With your support, Doctors Without Borders can continue to provide medical care to communities worldwide. Because medicine, like music, only works when uninterrupted. Doctors Without Borders, we go there.
Do you know what's hiding behind the colorful packaging of unhealthy food? Big food companies target children with unhealthy packaged foods that hide high levels of sugar, salt, and fat, which could lead to heart disease, diabetes, and hypertension. But the truth is hidden from consumers. Front-of-package warning labels are a proven solution to help consumers make informed decisions. The government must act now. We have the right to know what's in our food. Demand front-of-package warning labels. Sign the petition on heala.org, HEALA.org, by the 30th of September.
For those 2 a.m. checkouts, or the late-night shifts, for the last-minute orders, and the beginning of the month rush, for the 9 to 5 that becomes a 5 to 9. You don't clock out, and neither should your payments. Pay Fast by Network, always open for the dreamers, the doers, for you. From e-commerce to in-store payments and business funding, we have you covered. Sign up today at payfast.io.
702 and corporates that care with Ekwele are talking about Ekwele's commitment to uplifting communities across South Africa.
From Ekwele's side, we get a lot of requests for water. I think that access to clean drinking and safe water has become a daily challenge for many people. So we get a lot of requests. We really deliver hundreds and thousands of bottles every year. Recently, we saw a need for a more longer-term solution, more sustainable water solutions. When we turned 25, we delivered 25 water tanks to 25 communities all over South Africa. And it was really heartwarming to see what a difference a tank can make. The first tank we put up was at a school in Groudeville and KwaZulu-Natal, and the principal told us now they don't need to close their school anymore because sometimes they had to close school early because they didn't have water.
Ekwele, making a positive impact one drop at a time. Learn more at ekwele.co.za. 702, let's walk the talk.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
John, parties. I have to say dinner parties. 2 of my friends, Stefan and Santi, they throw the best dinner party for food that is traditional but exotic, like snails, skilpaikies, and livers. I don't normally eat that, but when it's at their house, I make second helpings. Thanks, Dave from Pretoria.
Sinuelo here in Merton. I just had the best party ever, family party. hosted by the Mutubas, my maternal side of the family. Beautiful, beautiful party we had in Orkney. All the way in the northwest. We had the most fun ever. And we are the best. Let me put it that way. Kero, Matsidiso, Sebulelo, everyone that organized, even our Snoopy. We had the best party. So you can come next year, 18th of April. It's an annual thing. We're going to be around somewhere in the northwest in Lichtenberg.
Good afternoon, John. I think criminals throw the biggest parties in South Africa. Buy expensive alcohol, lot of meat, lot of everything, by the way. Yeah, I think criminals, they're the one who throws best parties ever.
Best party or biggest party? There is a difference. The question I was asking, who throws the best parties in South Africa? I'm inviting you to take that particular question in any direction you like. We've had very specific things about these two friends, or we heard about a family, the Mutubas out in Orkney. Sounds like they move venues around to different parts of the Northwest, and maybe you want to go traditions or ethnic or whatever and say, well, it'll be this community in South Africa or that. Rural people, better bashers than urban people. That always interests me. The thing that prompted me was a party I went to on a farm on the Free State KZN border. So I'm certainly impressed with small town and rural hospitality because that was pretty special. But anyway, here we go from Titus, who says you get the party of your life when it's a Nigerian party. Niger parties are the best, Titus, with that from Rosettenville. 16 minutes now to 4.
EWN Sport.
Anthony Teixeira, the Springboks are, well, what are they doing? The team is changed and changed dramatically. You've got that story.
Yeah, good afternoon, John. The Springboks have overhauled their starting lineup from Saturday's Rugby Championship loss to the All Blacks by making 7 changes to their 15. The world champs will square off with their arch rivals once again this coming weekend with a test in Wellington. Heavy hitters including Eben Etzebeth, Andre Pollard, Willie Leroux, as well as centre duo Jesse Kriel and Damon Dialendi miss out on the match day 23. Coach Rassie Rasmus says one of the biggest reasons for some of the changes is to give some players an opportunity to play in a high-pressure match.
After this game, we probably only have the year of the World Cup where we're playing them away here. So it's not so much fresh legs, it's making sure we get some guys under the pressure of playing a team like that and hopefully learn from that.
Saturday will also see the Springbok women have a quarter-final clash at the World Cup against New Zealand. Yesterday they suffered a first defeat of their campaign to France in the pool stage as they finished second in Pool D. Coach Swester-Brain insists it was a chance to offer some experience, but the 47-point loss is a reflection of the gap between his side and the best in the world.
We fought right to the end. Let's be positive. Another positive is we did rest about 9 of our players for the quarterfinals, and we gave exposure to a lot of young new girls and who learned a lot. From that point of view, very happy.
In tennis, Carlos Alcaraz beat Yannick Sinner in the second Grand Slam final they faced off in 2025. The first being the Roland Garros, where he won with a dominant 6-2, 3-6, 6-1, 6-4 victory at Flushing Meadows yesterday. Double reward for Alcaraz as the Spaniard not only reclaimed the men's singles open title, while he's also returned to world number 1 in the rankings.
It was one of the first goals that I had during the seasons, just to try to recover the number 1 as soon as possible, or end the year as a number 1. So it's for me achieve that once again. As I said, it is a dream. Doing the same day as getting another Grand Slams feels even better.
In case you missed it, Arina Sabalenka successfully defended the women's singles title Saturday. And in football, Tottenham Hotspur's board insist that the club is not for sale. The announcement follows the sudden departure of Chief Executive Daniel Levy last week, which triggered takeover speculation. Spurs did confirm that they received 2 expressions of interest from the North London club, but insist the majority owners have no intention of accepting offers. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Right, let's get you out onto the roads and heading in the right direction, hopefully away from any of the jams. But if it's Midrand, you're heading through or to potentially some problems. Karabo Chale has the details.
Yeah, it looks like it's just peak hour delays, John, at this stage on the N1 northbound. N1 northbound in the Midrand area between the Bethleu to Change and Samrand. There's also slow-moving traffic if you're leaving the Sandton area heading towards Midrand. M1 northbound, this is between Ethel Oakland and the Bethleu to Change. Also in Rosebank, traveling towards the M1, traffic sluggish on Glenhove Road between Oxford Road and the M1 Sandton. Rather in the Devland area, there's those roadworks causing heavy delays on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue. Also, if you're traveling through Edenvale, there's slow-moving traffic on the R24 westbound. This is heading towards Bedford View. R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Gilulis interchange. Still in Bedford View, slow-moving traffic traveling towards Germiston on the N3 southbound between the Gilulis interchange and Van Buren. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Still to come on 702 Drive, a study done by the company organization. I'll find out shortly on the best way to describe them. They're called Sweep South, and every year they do a detailed survey of the state of domestic work in South Africa. For domestic workers, the numbers are alarming. Job losses, job shrinkage. We'll talk to Sweep South CEO Laurandi Kriel in about 2 or 3 minutes' time. But not before we've asked Anthony Teixeira, who throws the best parties in South Africa. I'm picturing the food at a gathering of Portuguese South Africans, and I'm getting hungry. But the party itself?
You and me both, John. I've got to be honest. I think I throw the best parties.
Okay.
And the reason is because...
So you haven't been invited either.
Well,
clearly.
Listen to this point. Because I've never thrown a party with people that I didn't like attending. It's always the people that I do like attending. So there's never any conflict or anything. So it's always a good, easy time. So it's my favorite parties, would be my own parties.
So you wouldn't go as far as to say Portuguese South Africans or people who live on the east side of Joburg or people between the age of 25 and 35 throw the best parties, or engineers or running clubs.
I mean,
I'm looking for stereotypes here. You're not helping.
I would say that our chicken is always good at our parties.
Okay.
Like very good. Spada as well. The food is exceptional. I think the Portuguese might actually throw good parties. Yeah.
Next date for the next one?
I'll have to get back to you, John.
Okay. Get back to Karabo.
Please.
I'll go as his +1. +2 because Karabo Malapile will also be coming. Okay, so keep those coming, please, on 011 883 0702. The entertainer, Teixeira, will be back in about 50 minutes with a sport and hopefully a scuff tin, although I'm not optimistic. 10-4.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Well, Business Times had, I think, an important story, albeit the fact that this is not a particularly encouraging one. It's to do with the state of domestic work in South Africa. And it reflects research done on an annual basis by the organization Sweep South, an online platform that connects homeowners with services such as cleaning, gardening, and elderly care. They titled their report, and this is the 8th one, Report on Domestic Worker Pay and Working Conditions. The most alarming thing is the job shrinkage. According to a piece written by Tabiso Mochiko, the number of domestic workers has plunged by almost 400,000 over the past 5 years. Laurandi Kriel is CEO of Sweep South, and she joins us now. Ms. Kriel, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time. I would assume there's a range of factors why this section of the job market is shrinking, but what in your view are the most important ones? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, John, and thank you for having me. And I just want to mention that Sweep South can come clean up after those parties.
Yes, thank you. Yes, if I get invited to one, I'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll come clean. So I think the most important factors of these job losses, which is dire, if you think about 400,000 job losses out of a market that used to have 1.2 million job opportunities pre-COVID. So the major factor is that post-COVID South Africa haven't really recovered from an economic standpoint. The South African economic growth rate 0.7% in the last 10 years, according to the World Bank. So consumers are under pressure. Corporate South Africa increases the last 5 years have remained below 5%, 0 to 5%. So whilst household inflation increased by at least 8%. So the consumers are very squeezed, they're under pressure, and they have to be very careful where they share their share of wallet. And domestic work often is one of the first areas where households cut, either cutting it entirely, cutting it by hours, or moving it out. That's the one thing. The second thing is a lot of people immigrating abroad. So it's the financial pressures and then immigration.
Has there been also a fact where people are not necessarily unemployed but are now underemployed? That during COVID, for example, so many things changed for people. And, you know, if you take the working from home thing, for some people that became a preferred way of doing things. Does your study reveal that some people said, well, we used to have somebody full-time, but now we only have them to do X, A, B, and C, but not the full alphabet?
Yes, we certainly do see that. We saw that post-COVID, where when people work from home, for example, they will quickly do their own laundry or their own dishes, etc.
Yes.
And then we also see it on our platform. We've launched a few specialized services like only laundry and ironing or only dog walking, and we see how those services have picked up because they're shorter in nature and they're not as regular versus the regular cleaning.
What about, I'm wondering if your survey captures this, where people have said, look, Lorandi, we can keep you on, but it's going to have to be on different terms, that people are working, but, you know, either in real or absolute terms, they're working for less.
Well, in absolute terms, definitely. So we in our research and also the data, we collect a hell of a lot of data in our business every day. So we see, for example, that when we increased our rates on our platform this year with 6%, in real terms, the increase to domestic workers are 5.8%, and the reason for that is people reduce hours. They set their regularity from, say, once a week to once every 2 weeks. So in real terms, that domestic worker earns less at the end of the month.
What are domestic workers telling you? I mean, I don't know, as you engage with the people who perhaps come to Sweep South, get taken up onto your base of people who can offer services, what are they telling you about how they've adjusted to these changes in their lives? I mean, are people saying, look, I've got to find a way to do something else? Or is that really an option that's not all that realistic?
Look, I think there's a lot of positivity, and I think, in South Africa, people try to, like they say in Afrikaans, a boer maak 'n plan. We see a lot of domestic workers or a lot of workers that's unemployed or underemployed for various other reasons, using our platform as a springboard into other jobs,
yes,
or to educate themselves, for example. So we have a lot of workers on the platform that is obtaining elder care certifications, childcare certifications, so that they can work for a higher salary into those streams. So they do try and make it work. Unfortunately, there are quite a few that can't, and a third of domestic workers go into debt just to service their living costs.
And just finally, I mean, you did talk about immigration and the downside of that. If there is a silver lining to that particularly dark cloud, is it that given that it tends to be younger family members who go abroad looking for another place to live in, and a fresh start to their lives, is there a pickup in demand for elderly care, that people have left elderly relatives behind and either want them to be looked after in the place where they live, or perhaps if there is any kind of growth in the elderly care sector, there might be formal employment through the companies that run those facilities?
Yes, I think the care economy globally is quite positive. In South Africa, they project the elder care economy will grow to 211 billion by 2030. So that's quite positive. And we recently launched, or this year we've launched both childcare and elder care on our platform, and we do see how that demand grows. But there's also opportunity to use elder care or childcare, the care economy, as a career pathway for young unemployed workers in South Africa, and get them properly upskilled and then export them to other countries. So I think South Africa is very well positioned to be one of the biggest and the best providers of care workers internationally, not only at home.
Thank you very much to Lorandi Kriel, who's the CEO of Sweep South. Every year they do what they call, I'll give you the full title, Report on Domestic Worker Pay and Working Conditions. Give us a call on that on 011-883-0702. If you've been affected by any of these changes, maybe you have cut back on the work that you do, or the work that you bring in domestic workers to do. Maybe you or a family member have worked in that sector and you're feeling a squeeze and a pinch as well. Wide open question. Give us a call, please, on 011-883-0702.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
5 suspects have been killed in a shootout with police in KwaZulu-Natal this morning. Police say the gun battle started when cops tried to arrest the group suspected of being involved in crime activities in Chatsworth, south of Durban. Police spokesperson Robert Nichawunda says officers opened fire during a confrontation between the gang and officers.
Our officers were looking for suspects who were terrorizing communities of Madlanga Township.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
They've stood tall, served hard, and dreamed big. Now it's time to honour the best among them. It's Gauteng's Greatest Awards with 702, powered by Yoko. Tune in on Tuesday, 9 September from 6 a.m. when we reveal the winners and celebrate the excellence that makes Gauteng feel like home, because every time a business wins, the whole community shines. Gauteng's Greatest Awards with 702, powered by Yoko. Let Yoko Counter fuel your business to greatness. Go to yoko.com to explore the new point of sale solution, saving hundreds of businesses time and money.
The team's on a roll today. Let me focus on payroll. Duty calls in the kitchen. That's why I have a business insurer that is agile and on the ball all the time on all things. I chose My Way Business Insurance, getting 24/7 emergency service and saving on my premiums, plus my business assist to handle my admin.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
Backed by popular demand, legendary jazz icon Kenny G will be performing at the Super Bowl at Sun City on Friday, the 3rd of October. Get ready for an unforgettable night of timeless hits and pure musical magic. Get your tickets from webtickets.co.za. Brought to you by Breakout Events and 702.
This is EWN.
Madlanga Commission to start its work with General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi and crime prevention wardens not ready for guns just as yet. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi will be the first witness to appear before the Judicial Commission of Inquiry probing his claims of interference within the criminal justice system. During a briefing in Pretoria this afternoon, Commission spokesperson Jeremy Michaels confirmed consultations with Mkhwanazi are ongoing this week and will continue into next week. The Commission, chaired by retired Concord Judge Mbuyiseni Madlanga, will begin begin with the public hearings next week. The commission was established by President Cyril Ramaphosa in July, days after Mkhwanazi made explosive allegations of corruption and collusion within the criminal justice system. Michael says evidence leaders are also in consultation with other witnesses.
The Commission's evidence leaders and investigators have been in consultation with witnesses and following up on information within the Commission's terms of reference. As Justice Madlanga said at our first media briefing on the 28th of July, consultation with the first witness was, in his words, imminent.
The Gauteng government says the province's crime prevention wardens are not yet trained to handle firearms. The clarity follows concerns raised after 5 wardens were shot and injured yesterday. The wardens were shot during a regular patrol in Davidton, Ekurhuleni by a group of unknown individuals. All of the wardens suffered gunshot wounds, with one now discharged from hospital, 3 in a stable condition and 1 in ICU. Thabiso Koba has more.
Since the establishment of the Gauteng Crime Prevention Wardens, there has been concerns over their training and how equipped they are to deal with criminals in the country's most crime-ridden province. During a hospital visit to some of the injured wardens today, Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi, the brainchild behind the program, says their training is done on a continuous basis.
Obviously, they've not been trained at an advanced level where people expect them to be trained, because they were not meant to go toe-to-toe with CITs, for example. They're not meant to go toe-to-toe with taxi violence. They were meant to give additional support to law enforcement agencies. Now that they've been doing that for 3 years, we are of the strong view that we need to review.
No arrests have been made yet on the gunmen that shot the wardens. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Parliament's Communications Committee Chairperson Kusela Sangoni-Diko has warned that the SABC is on the brink of collapse. She says the public broadcaster is in trouble because of outdated infrastructure, legislation as well as an inadequate funding model. Diko was addressing an economic cluster portfolio media briefing in Parliament today. Babalondenze takes a look.
The economics cluster briefing by the committee chairpersons from Transport and Communications was titled Opening New Economic Opportunities. But Communications Committee Chairperson Kusela Sangoni-Diko says the ICT sector is functioning under outdated legislation and requires a new approach. She says the SABC is one such entity that faces a complete collapse as a result.
On the SABC is at a risk of collapse. It's burdened by unsustainable debt, outdated infrastructure, and a broken funding model. When we spoke about the SABC, and we said, amongst others, the withdrawing of the SABC bill is sounding a death knell on the institution. We were told we were being alarmist.
Sangoni-Diko says the SABC bill is still stalling in Parliament and has called for the urgent processing of the bill to address the SABC's financial and operational challenges. Babalondenze, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
We shift our focus to this now. Trade and Industry Minister Park Stau says South Africa and Algeria are making progress on fresh trade relations as the continent looks inward for economic opportunities. Stau is in Algeria for the 4th Intra-African Trade Fair, where he is leading a delegation of 30 South African businesses. Part of the visit includes talks with Algeria's automotive sector amid a scramble for new markets following US President Donald Trump's punitive tariffs on all its trade partners. Nogukanyam Dambo has the details.
The meeting between South African and Algerian trade officials focused on implementing an existing memorandum of understanding on economic cooperation. Both sides agreed to establish trade routes to improve bilateral trade and market access for goods and services. The MOU, signed in December last year during the Binational Commission between Algeria and South Africa, covers cooperation in trade, industrial development and infrastructure. Trade and Industry Minister Park Stau says a proposal was also tabled for a joint trade and investment committee, which will act as a platform for the two countries to meet regularly and facilitate trade and investment. The two nations further agreed to enhance cooperation across multiple sectors, including oil and gas, automotive, infrastructure development, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, aviation, agriculture, and agro-processing. Nogukanyam Dambo, Eyewitness News.
And in Turkey, 2 police officers have been killed and another wounded in an armed attack on a police station in the city of Izmir. It's understood a masked 16-year-old attacked the police station this morning, injuring 6 other people. The teenager was arrested and the motive is still under investigation. The teen carried out the attack allegedly in retaliation for mistreatment at the same police station just days after being released from custody. Gold is trading at $3,612.17 an ounce. The rand is at 17.56 to the dollar, 23.72 to the pound, 20.58 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $65.51 a barrel.
Driving through Sandton, there's a bumper traffic on the M1 northbound between Ethel Oakland and the Batlu interchange. Also in Rosebank, there's slow-moving traffic. This is on Glenhove Road. Between Oxford and the M1, and in Alex heading towards Bedfordview, traffic remains gridlocked N3 southbound between Marlborough Drive and Modderfontein Road.
And in your sport, Proteas coach Shukri Conrad confirms Rabada and Ngidi absence from a record ODI loss not due to injury. Jasper Vesta reclaims Springbok number 8 jersey, and McLaren shock F1 with strange team orders.
A partly cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, with isolated showers and thundershowers expected. Joburg dropping to an overnight low of 12 degrees, peaking at 27. Pretoria 15 and 28, and Vereeniging 11 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi will be the first witness to appear before the Judicial Commission of Inquiry, probing claims of interference within the criminal justice system.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive Home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
on 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 Drive. It's 8 minutes past 4. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope the first day of the week has been as good as it can be. Monday, not everybody's cup of tea. I quite like Mondays, actually. Not sure why. But anyway, hope it's going well and that the rest of the week has got some good things in store. Any highlights you want to tell us about? Scenes from forthcoming attractions. That's what I used to remember it as in the movies when they were doing the trailers for what was still coming. So any scenes from forthcoming attractions in your life, anything we ought to congratulate you about or wish you well for? Maybe it's that big job interview. Perhaps you got a proposal that you've lined up, either corporate or romantic. Well, let us know and we'll send out some good thoughts. Coming up over the next half an hour or so, we're going to be chatting to our EWN colleague Oren Singh. Looks like a very detailed and interesting briefing given by the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Communications person Jeremy Michaels was kicking it off, I think. Matthew Chaskelson, advocate who's going to be centrally involved, it would seem, I'm sure, had something to say, and forensic expert Peter Goss seemed to be in the picture as well. We'll hear all about that from Oren shortly. And then a story that really caught my eye. I mean, on one level, you could just say, yeah, just another day in South Africa with money being spent on things that we don't need spending on in areas where money is in short supply. But I thought it was a very interesting story on how much we spend on board fees for people who sit on water boards and various water authorities. The amount of money spent is really quite considerable. So I thought we ought to find out, well, what exactly do these water boards do and how important are the board members? But the fees seem to be pretty handsome. Some of them are pulling 100,000 Rand a meeting. I would hope that their contributions are exceptional at that rate, because that seems to me to be a lot of money. Anyway, Mike Muller is an expert on water, and he is going to join us. He's a professor at the Wits School of Governance, former DG of Water and Sanitation, and with us in about 10 minutes' time. A couple of things we've been asking you online. You've been coming back to us. Who in South Africa throw the best party? Some people have been asking me, well, what do you mean by who and which? Are you talking about cultural groups? And I said, no, answer it any way you choose. We've had Karabo say his Afrikaans friends through the best parties, or still do. Somebody else named a particular family grouping in Orkney. We had 2 people highlighted for their wonderful parties out in Pretoria, I think it was. Exotic food staying. Speaking of Pretoria, Fuego Del Mar on Facebook says, Praetorians make a movie, and Ramon points us to the 10th year of the annual Alex All-White Party, which he says is coming up soon, assuming that's referring to outfits. 702 Drive, let's hear what some of you had to say about parties, and a few of you responding to the online bullying of June Steenkamp. Here we go.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
John here from Randburg. I've always wondered, like, with the increase of these pivotal professions being targeted by hitmen, what is the next step? How do you protect them? Do you do these audits, these business rescues, liquidations, etc.? Do you do them blind, where the applicant is just given a reference number and an alias, and you send it to that particular mailbox, and it gets distributed to the professional on the other end, just to protect them? It's really baffling, and it's quite scary, to be quite honest.
Afternoon, Dr. John Perlman here. I think the best party throwers are entrepreneurs. They work hard and they play hard. I've been to places like Nelspruit, Witbank, Potchefstroom, Klerksdorp, Kimberley, Bloemfontein, Kroonstad, Bethlehem, and you can work out the common denominator there. They are the best.
Afternoon, John. The laws in this country are not doing enough in terms of going after these social media companies like your Meta, Twitter, like what the European Union is doing. I mean, the European Union is taking up all these fines. They are going after these companies for not doing enough in terms of protecting other users, So until we go after these users, it will continue to happen. I mean, example, here in this country, you have your Chris Excel, your Gulam, your Not Beriru accounts that are faceless, yet they can spread vile messages.
Thank you. And by the way, we had a very interesting conversation with Emma Sadlier. For example, you or someone you know or somebody you admire are subject to online bullying. She had a couple of really interesting suggestions about how you can deal with that. We spoke to her just after 3 or just before 3:30 actually, to be a bit more accurate. And if you want to hear what she had to say, primemediaplus.com is the website we use, where you can access all the content from all day on 702 Plus from the other 3 stations in the Prime Media stable, 947 Cape Talk and KFM. So you can always pick up something there that is in addition to what it was that you were looking for. But check out what Emma had to say a little bit earlier. 14 minutes past 4.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by cars.coza. And we've got the very latest from the roads with Karabo Chale. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, John. Well, if you're leaving the Sandton Rosebank area, expect some delays. This is in Rosebank on Glenhove Road between Oxford and the M1. Also, traveling through Midrand, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is on the M1 North between Ethel Oaklands and the Betluin to change. Alex, traveling towards Germiston. Traffic remains gridlocked. N3 southbound between Marlborough Drive and Modderfontein Road. In Bryanston, traffic heavily backed up on the N1 southbound. That's heading towards 4 ways between the Betluin to change and Winnie Mandela Drive. And we still have those roadworks in the Devland area causing delays traveling towards El Dorado Park on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Hey, Jim, what's wrong? Hi, Bob. I'm just so confused. I'm trying to buy a car, and I don't know where to stop.
Well, have you tried to... Cars.coza.
Have you tried to... Sorry, we're trying to do an advert.
Whatever car you want to buy or sell, cut through the And just go to cars.coza and let's find what moves you. Cars.coza.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. Right, let's find out what key members of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry into corruption and other problems in the criminal justice system had to say. Oren Singh, our EWN colleague, was there and listening intently and joins us now. Oren, a very good afternoon to you. Where should we start? I guess the big question that many people would have been concerned about is, this is sensitive stuff. Is it all going to be in public hearings, or might some of it be in camera? And what happens to the witnesses?
Good afternoon to you, John. I think very vital points raised about in-camera testimony that might be heard at the commission when it's set to kick off next week, Wednesday. We heard from one of the evidence leaders, Advocate Matthew Chaskelson, and he coming forward and saying that there will be at times when testimony will be heard in camera, meaning that we won't be able to sit in on those proceedings. But I think more interestingly, John, that he confirmed that there might even be some instances where the media won't even be allowed to look at the transcripts of those that evidence that is heard, which is something that we haven't seen or heard of before, taking it back to the Zondo Commission into state capture, where some evidence was heard in camera, but the media got wind of the transcripts. So he's saying essentially there is going to be very sensitive information that they will be dealing with here. In some instances, they've already tried to get access to have information declassified so they can have those testimonies heard at the commission. But that was one of the main things that are coming out this afternoon.
So we've got a sense of the, because we spoke to Jeremy Michaels last week. Oren, he was saying that, even though the public hearings haven't begun, they've been hard at work and, are clearly doing lots of background research and so on. What was any of that shared? Have they given any sense of what they've come up with so far?
In drips and drabs, John. I think that the main thing that everyone kind of suspected that was KZN police boss Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi was going to be the first witness called to testify at the commission, and they've confirmed that this afternoon. They've confirmed that they're currently still in consultation with Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. They're going to be still consulting with him for the rest of the week and Monday and Tuesday, leading up to the commission starting on Wednesday. But I think another important aspect is that of witness protection. They were very mum on the questions, several questions posed by the media about witness protection. As we know, John, in this country, witnesses are not protected. So when it comes to a commission like this, how do they ensure that, given the fact that several bodies or entities that have been implicated in the allegations by Mkhwanazi are responsible for witness protection in SAPS, in the Department of Correctional Services, how are they going to ensure that witnesses are protected? And right towards the end, we heard from the chief evidence leader, Dr. Peter Goss, where he gave us a small glimpse without making too much public to say that they're in the final process of procuring a highly qualified and skilled company or service provider to ensure that witnesses are protected, be it in their personal capacity at home, or be it when they have to attend or leave Bridget Mabandla Justice College in Pretoria when they're called to testify.
And Oren, your overall sense, I mean, obviously a false start when they weren't able to begin with hearings on the 1st of September. As I said, we had a chat, I think last week, may have had more than one, with Jeremy Michaels. A sense of being a little bit cagey. They didn't want, they said, well, we've got all the equipment we need. Kind of, there are a few things that needed fixing. But I think the fact that they called a press conference, it looked to me like it went on for at least an hour, would suggest to me that they're quite confident engaging, which seems to me they're perhaps more ready to go than they were 7 days ago.
Definitely, John. I think they're prepared. It's all system go come Wednesday. We have seen several delays and setbacks, and we have seen this kind of tit for tat sort of play out in the media between members of this Madlanga Commission of Inquiry as well as the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. the commission themselves laying the blame squarely on the department, who were responsible for procuring vital and crucial infrastructure to allow this commission to start and go ahead. And they seem to claim that everything's sorted in terms of the ICT infrastructure, the IT infrastructure. And I think one of the main things they were concerned about was data breaches, security breaches when it comes to storing evidence up in the cloud or online. They were really concerned about that, and they did make mention of it here today, but they say they seem to have their concerns somewhat dulled, in the sense that they believe firmly that there won't be any hacking or data breaches in terms of the evidence that they collect and collate.
Thanks so much, Oren Singh, EWN reporter. Updates from Oren, I'm sure, as the story unfolds in more detail. But yeah, sounds good. From the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, their work is vital. It's good to hear that they appear to be ready to go and ready to go in earnest. 22 minutes past 4.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. Now, you can barely switch on the radio, turn on the telly, or open a newspaper or click on an online news site without seeing something about the way in which public funds in South Africa are not used as effectively as they should be. Sometimes that involves a degree of wastage and carelessness. Sometimes, of course, it's outright theft. And then you get stuff that seems to be part of the system that you look at and go, well, hang on a minute, this doesn't make a great deal of sense. That was certainly a response of mine to a Sunday Times piece by Thabo Mokone and Sabelo Skiti. And the headline reads, "Splashing out dry taps as waterboards drown in excess." This is all prompted by a question delivered to Water and Sanitation Minister Phemi Majordina by the MK Party's Visvin Reddy. And he asked questions about the way in which executives or board members on water boards actually are paid board fees, travel expenses, and other expenses are covered. The amounts of money involved, I think, to me at least, seem to be quite extraordinary. I mean, they talk about some board members pocketing close on 50 million rand in board fees. So the question you might be asking is, what exactly is a water board and what do they do? Let's find out more, and welcome to 702 Drive, Professor Mike Muller. He's a former DG of Water and Sanitation, a professional engineer, and currently a visiting professor at Wits School of Governance. Prof. Muller, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time today. What do the water boards do, but crucially, how important to their functioning are board members? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, and I have to now say your viewers, it's not just your listeners.
Yes.
I'm going to switch my camera off because Vodacom isn't as good as the water boards. So what the water boards do, John, is they are the bulk water providers. They get water from rivers and dams across the country. They treat it, they bring it together, they put it in large reservoirs, and then they supply it to municipalities. That's the formal big job of the water boards, and particularly Rand Water, we know well in Gauteng, but equally in KZN, the Umgeni Mhlatuzi board serves a very wide area and quite a few municipalities there. So they do a very important job of just making sure that water in rivers and dams gets to municipalities well treated, ready to use, and we hope reliably.
So, I mean, what do the board members actually do? I mean, it seems that what appears to be, I don't know if it's a going rate, but it appears to be quite a common one, 100,000 rand per meeting. I'm assuming a meeting takes a day. These figures to people accustomed to hearing from the water authorities that there's no money to fix pipes and replace broken infrastructure. People will say, well, hang on a bit, this seems absurd.
Yeah, I looked at that story and tried to understand exactly what numbers they were talking about.
Right.
And I must say that it was a little unclear because there's certainly payment for the time you spend. There was also sort of mix up about people's travel expenses. And I think what we should do, and what wasn't done in that article, was say, if you're running a 20 billion rand business, which is what Rand Water does, and your board has got to oversee that and make sure you stick to the rules and do the job properly, and that a chief executive who's competent is appointed and stays, on the tracks and doesn't go off the tracks. I think you'll find that across the private sector as well as the public sector, that kind of activity has to be well remunerated, because it's quite a large responsibility you're giving people. So I don't want to comment about the individual numbers, because they're mixing up travel expenses and attendance expenses. And don't forget, if you get a 200-page bundle of board documents, you have to read them before the meeting, and you've got to have, some contribution to make. So I think that might be an issue. The bigger problem really, is we are in a very unequal society in South Africa, and there are people who are paid those kind of numbers and take them for granted. And there's also very, very poor people. The difference perhaps with the water boards is the job of the board is to make sure that everybody, including those very poor people, gets reliable, safe water. Now, if they do that job well, I don't want them to be robbed by some sort of private sector outfit that's going to offer them, a couple of $1,000 more and a slightly easier life. So we have to balance the need to have competent and, I have to say, honest and leaders in the sector. We've got to pay what's necessary in this particular market, and perhaps we should deflate the market. But that's not a water board problem; that's a general problem.
But I'm wondering if you have any sense of how people who sit on these boards are actually chosen. I mean, certainly the CETA board issue raised questions about the extent to which these are political appointments related more to the balance of forces in what has up until now been the sole governing party in the country. I mean, in general, do you get a sense that water boards, A, are well run, and B, if they are, that's to the credit of the board, but if they're not, and quite a few of them are under investigation by various authorities, that would suggest their work is less than excellent?
Well, I think one of the ways we can measure that is by, how much they've been pushed around or not been pushed around by the politicians. And the two boards who I followed very closely, the Rand Water Board and also the other agency which is related to them, the Trans-Caledon Tunnel Authority, which brings water from Lesotho, I know that they had tremendous pressure from ministers to do things which were quite frankly, if not criminal, certainly stupid, and they resisted that. Now, that's what we pay those kind of board members for. We pay them to be good leaders and to support good management. And quite often that can be a bit of a dangerous job in South Africa. So sometimes you'll see investigations happening, and quite often those investigations will have been initiated by actions from, for instance, the board. I'm not by any means saying they're all good, but I think the performance of certainly Rand and TCTA and Umgeni has kept South Africa's water services pretty much on track in the areas that they support. So I would like to see competent people supported. Whether they should all go on holiday to Stockholm, whether they should all go to conferences in places like Stockholm is another matter. And I think that was the other issue that was raised. Why do so many South African public officials turn up at international meetings? What are they doing there? And I think that's a fair question to ask. Is that a perk of the job, or is that something that is important because perhaps you're going to go and meet some agencies who can support or fund activities here, and younger people can go and learn something. But I do think that there was a tradition in some areas, not just the water boards, of going to conferences. It was a bit of a perk for overseas travel. And I think that certainly needs to be heavily restricted given the very challenging financial times we have.
Thanks very much, Professor Mike Muller, joining us from the Wits School of Governance. 29 minutes past 4.
EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis, good afternoon to you. Market off to a good start, it seems.
Yeah, good afternoon, John. I mean, gold is just incredible at the moment. Passed through $3,500 last week, now $3,635.87 an ounce. And yes, a whole host of new records along the way. That's pushed resources up, pushing the JSE All Share up 1.07 points, a percent rather, at 102,614. Financials up 1%, industrials up 0.16, resources up 2.83% on the day. Kind of what you would expect. Pan-African Resources up 10%. As Banya up 5.3%. Northern and Implats both up by over 5%. So the platinum mine is really getting in on the action, John. We do kind of see this strange relationship between them. Goldfields up 3%. But then Investec up around 6% on the day, trying to drill down a little further into that, but a very, very strong day for them. AVI reporting its headline earnings per share up 6.1%. Its gross profit margin was up 2.4%. Did have some issues in the fashion retail sector. There were supply chain issues there. And then Metrofile reporting their headline earnings by over 13%. John, this is interesting. Their demand for cloud services remains strong, but they've received an increase in requests from its clients to destroy the physical documents that are being kept. In other words, people are just moving everything digitally as you would expect, but that obviously hits Metrofile's business. African Rainbow Minerals. Now, this is a rare loss for Mamelodi Sundowns. They're down 3.6% on the day. That'll be after their weak results out last week. Tungela down 1.77% and Pick and Pay down 1.38%. I should say AB InBev down 1.2% as well. So yes, gold passed $3,600 for the first time yesterday. This is really because of the difficult jobs numbers in the US. That suggests there will be an interest rate from the Federal Reserve next week. The main indices in the US opening higher, though. There are hopes that there will be lower interest rates. The Dow Jones, though, is turning a corner. It's down 0.14% now. The Nasdaq is up 0.69%. The S&P 500 is up 0.19%. The gold price now is $3,635.87. Platinum, $1,384.82. Brent crude, $66.02. And the rand slightly stronger, 17.56 to the dollar, 20.63 to the euro, 23.77 to the British pound. A lot to come, of course, on the markets today. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. Let's get the very latest eyewitness news now with Mbali Dlamini. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. A report looking into early childhood development in the country has revealed that a significant number of children entering the education system lack foundational skills that can guarantee them academic success. Today, Basic Education Minister Sivuyo Gwahube weighed in on the findings, saying the revelation is a crisis that needs urgent intervention. The latest Thrive by 5 Index report was shared in Sandton, Johannesburg today, and it provides critical data for guiding educational policy. Tanduluhle Ngcobo reports.
The report, described by Data Drive Director Sonia Giza as a wake-up call, paints a stark picture of a crisis that she says affects every South African. The index is based on direct assessments of more than 5,000 children in the 4-year-old age bracket attending early learning programs. It tracked progress in 3 core areas of development, including early learning, physical growth with a focus on stunting, and social-emotional functioning. The index revealed that only 42% of those children enrolled in early learning programs are on track for early learning, with girls far ahead of boys who are struggling. Giza says the gaps reflect underlying inequalities in home environments, nutrition, stimulation, and classroom quality, which underscores the need for targeted investment in early learning. Tanduluhle Ngcobo, Eyewitness News.
The DA in Tshwane has questioned why the municipality is taking so long to bar controversial entrepreneur Edwin Sodi from doing business with the Metro. The city has sent a request to National Treasury to have Sodi's company Blackhead Consulting blacklisted from securing municipal tenders. It follows the company's failure to complete refurbishments at the Rooival wastewater treatment plant. DA Tshwane caucus leader Celia Brink says Sodi should have been blacklisted by now.
It appears that the blacklisting application against Blackhead Consulting, Edwin Sodi and his associates has not even been lodged with National Treasury by the city of Tshwane. And this is almost a year and a half after the process was initially brought. And it seems that Tshwane is dragging its feet. The DA is obviously concerned.
KZN Premier Tami Ntuli has called on government to adapt to changes in technology in a bid to improve service delivery and strengthen decision-making across the board. Ntuli made the call at the opening of the annual GovTech conference in Durban today. He was joined by Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Blayden Nzimande as well as Communications Minister Solly Malatsi. After a one-year pause, government leaders and tech experts have used the return of the event to push for South Africa to keep up with global standards. Ntuli says the digital economy is not a luxury but a necessary solution to the country's pressing challenges.
Avoiding the middle-income trap requires productivity-led growth driven by innovation. This means that as societies must create learning pathways from global technology trends.
And the International Criminal Court has postponed a crimes against humanity hearing against former Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte while judges weigh his fitness to take part. Duterte was scheduled to appear at the ICC in about 2 weeks' time to hear the charges over his years-long campaign against drug users and dealers that rights groups say killed thousands of people. But the court decided to adjourn the hearing until it can rule on a defense motion that the 80-year-old is not fit to stand trial. Duterte was arrested in Manila earlier this year, flown to the Netherlands that same evening, and has been held at the ICC's detention unit prison since then. A partly cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with isolated showers and thundershowers expected. Lows of between 11 and 15 degrees and highs of between 27 and 28.
In Alex, driving through, heading towards Germiston, you can expect about an hour delay. This is on the N3 southbound between the Butlu Interchange and Waterfontein Road. Sandton also bumper traffic. On the M1 northbound heading towards Midrand between Ethel Oaklands and the Butlu Interchange, and in Bryanston we still have heavy delays on the N1 south between the Butlu Interchange and Winnie Mandela Drive.
The top story in EWN, a report looking into early childhood development in the country has revealed that a significant number of children entering the education system lack foundational skills.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
So maybe you can just touch on the fact that legally grandparents can go to court for access to grandchildren, but we also are fully aware that there are valid reasons why grandparents sometimes do get cut out of the lives of children.
It is important for grandparents to remain important connection to their families, especially their grandchildren, because what we've seen in today's families or systems, we find that there's a cultural drift where children cannot longer learn important rituals that families used to have.
Dr. Leta Selamulela Musima.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
The DSTV Delicious Festival, powered by Lotto Star, is back. With just one ticket, experience unforgettable music, mouth-watering food, bold fashion and vibrant art. From Saturday 20 to Sunday 21 September, celebrate with friends and bring the family for a picnic on Sunday. This year, DSTV celebrates 30 years with international headliners, SA's hottest talent, and a feast that's as big as the vibe. It's Africa's biggest music and food festival. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star and supported by 702. More on deliciousfestival.com.
When you're uploading massive files, does it really matter what your internet's download speed is? With business class internet, you get a connection that's as fast going up as it is down. Your company deserves business class internet, because just reboot the router isn't a business strategy. Find reliability at vodacombusiness.co.za. Together, let's build the extraordinary. Further together. Vodacom Business.
Life is full of moments. Some are small.
Surprise, I got you a matcha latte.
Some are big.
Surprise, we're having twins.
For all those moments, there's the new Haval H6 SUV with a spacious interior and voice command. It's built for big moments. Get it from only $6,699 per month. Visit gwm.co.za for T's and C's and to book a test drive. GWM. Go with more.
Brought to you by GWM Finance, a division of Westbank and authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
Last orders coming through during your drive home or at midnight. Your customers check out whenever, wherever. With seamless payment integration and over 18 ways to get paid, PayFast by Network is built to keep up. And when it's time to grow, funding with Easy Advance helps you take the next step. Always open for late nights, for early starts, for you. Sign up today at payfast.io. PayFast has partnered with TimeBank to offer funding to your business.
EWN Sport.
Now, just before we get into the sport, I have a question. Obviously, every time the Springboks lose, we are disappointed. Some people deeply disappointed. I've been trying to believe, what's the word? Believe in the process, that the Springboks have taken a view, and I think it's the correct one, that what gets you to number one doesn't keep you there, that you got to keep evolving, playing styles need to evolve, and so on. And I'm still on, I think I'm still on the bus, but I am looking out the window a little bit more than I used to. Something that makes me a little bit uncomfortable is wholesale team changes. That doesn't seem to me to be a good way to go about it. This, of course, is based on zero experience of ever having coached a rugby team. But I'm really keen to know: are you still keeping the faith? And by the way, I think the Springboks and Rassie Erasmus and his coaching team have certainly got a lot of credit in the bank. But I'd love to get your thoughts, particularly when you hear 7 changes for the next game against the All Blacks. What do you think? Are you starting to get... it's one thing to be unhappy, and it's another thing to be actually thinking, well, I'm not sure I believe this anymore. So give me a call and tell me, where are you at? You don't have to give me a call because you're right here, Anthony Teixeira. Where are you at?
I certainly am asking questions.
Yeah.
I'm wondering whether some of the old guard should be making way a little bit sooner than they have in this sort of in between the World Cups. Are we running into a thing that we had in 2011 where we came off of a Rugby World Cup success in 2007, and a lot of the old guard remained longer than they should have. And so I'm wondering if that's maybe the case. But at the same time, this is sort of what happens. We go through these moments where we are brilliant and successful, and then all of a sudden it just doesn't work, and they refigure and they rejig everything. So I very much am in that thing of, I am looking out the bus window, but I'm firmly seated.
Okay, there we go. Beautifully put. Right. Cricket, of course, having to swallow a very bad loss, but off the back of a series win. What are they saying?
Yeah, that's right. The Proteas are now switching focus to that shortest format of the game, the T20s, with the 3-match series beginning Wednesday evening against England. Sunday, the South Africans suffered a historic 342-run loss to the English, the biggest margin of a run victory in ODI history. The English had been led by centuries from Joe Root and Jacob Bethel as they posted a mammoth 414 for 5. In response, the Proteas batters were all out for just 72. 2 names missing from that loss were bowling duo Kagiso Rabada and Lungangidi. Coach Shukri Conrad confirmed they had been rested given the Proteas had already wrapped up the series victory.
If we really pushed him, we could possibly have forced him through today, but we didn't want to take any risks with him. The T20 is the priority for us. Ngidi, again, just managed a couple of niggles. He was fine to go today, but again, we earned the right to give him a bit of a break.
Switching to rugby, Coach Rassie Erasmus has welcomed the return of Jasper Visser at Springboks number 8 following his red card ban suspension.
For the last 8 weeks, he's just been training, so we're very happy to have him back. Now everybody talked about the 8th-man crisis. I really thought when Sia did a great job in the first game until he injured his knee. I thought Sia did really well last weekend. And Kwagga does well when he comes on, and now having Jasper back is obviously a massive plus. It's great to have him back into the mix. He's always been one of our standout players.
He's one of the 7 changes to the starting lineup the World Champs have made for the team, who lost 24-17 this past weekend to the All Blacks. And in Formula 1, Max Verstappen may have won a first victory in 4 months at the Italian Grand Prix, but it was the McLarens who snatched the headlines. A slow pit stop from second place Lando Norris caused him to come out behind teammate Oscar Piastri. The constructor then intervened and requested that the Australian allowed Norris through back into second on the track. After initially questioning the team orders, the Drivers' Championship leader Piastri let the Brit through. Piastri says it's now set a precedent in the title race. However, he would not have followed through had the order been made and there were other drivers involved.
I mean, I think if it's within your control and there's no other cars involved, it's quite simple. But, obviously if there's other cars involved, we're not going to give away, all of those points to other teams for a mistake. But when there's no cars in between, it's much easier to rectify it. So.
And Marc Marquez had his run of 15 successive race and sprint wins ended by brother Alex, who claimed the Catalan checkered flag. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by the Mpumalanga Tourism and Parks Agency. Mpumalanga, the place of the rising sun. N3 South, we got some jams. Where's the jam start and how far back does it go?
Well, if you're traveling through the Alex area heading towards Germiston, you can expect about an hour delay, John. This is on the N3 southbound between the Patloo Interchange and Modderfontein Road. Also traveling heading towards Four Ways. There's heavy delays in the Bryanston area. N1 South between the Patloo Interchange and Winnie Mandela Drive. In Sandton, also heading towards Midrand, bumper-to-bumper traffic. M1 North from Ethel Oaklands all the way to the Patloo Interchange. In the Joburg CBD, traffic is a bit sluggish. This is heading towards Poisons. M1 South from Killarney Bends to the Crown Interchange. And in Devland, we still have those roadworks on the Golden Highway causing heavy delays between the N1 and Union Avenue. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Explore the wonders of Mpumalanga. Discover the ultimate wildlife experience that brings you closer to nature. Get your adrenaline rush with endless adventure activities. Explore breathtaking 4x4 routes or hike the Blader River Canyon, the third largest in the world. Unwind with spectacular landscapes and majestic waterfalls. Make Mpumalanga your destination of choice. Mpumalanga, embrace the unknown, live the adventure. This message is brought to you by the Mpumalanga Tourism and Parks Agency. Mpumalanga, the place of the rising sun. Visit mpumalanga.com for more information.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Some of you already responding on that Springboks question. Strady says it's the mistakes and poor decision making that's costing the team. And of course, panicking. Strady adds, as evidenced by wholesale changes. 7 is a big lot of changes. A lot of changes. Okay, 12 minutes to 5. Now, here's a different question of an entirely different kind. Before you bought a pet or acquired a pet, because maybe you didn't have to pay any money, before you acquired a pet, what is the thing you wish that somebody had informed you about, had actually told you about? Anthony Teixeira, you look deep in thought.
I mean, there's several things. I wish someone had told me how much the price of the flea tablets are, or the things that you put on the back.
The collars, yeah.
So expensive.
Oh, those drops as well. Yes.
They're so expensive. I wish somebody had told me that. And also, just the amount of time and attention you have to give to certain breeds of dogs. I mean, my sister has a Belgian Malinois, and if you don't walk Ruby like twice a day, if my uncle's not there making sure that she's mentally stimulated, she will pull the drains off of the wall of the house. Like, there's no in between. It's either she's stimulated or she's destructive. There's no we can miss one day and everything will be fine. No.
So you say the dog is called a Belgian Malinois?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. I'm learning something every day. So if I were to Google Belgian, is that Malinois?
Yes, Belgian.
Oh, Malinois.
Yes.
Belgian Malinois.
The dog's from John Wick, basically.
Temperament. Well, that's not a good start. Belgian Malinois dog breed. Wide range is seen in temperament and aggressiveness. Oh, that is very helpful. A wide range. There we go. They want nothing more than to be with their family. Okay. So we have been warned, although they've put it very nicely. They don't say there, like if you're not around all the time, then the dog is likely to destroy the drapes and the furniture. Do you have pets?
I used to have a dog, and I'll never ever have a dog again. Because first of all, it's a lot of work to maintain. When I was a kid, I remember I nagged and begged my parents to get me a puppy. Then it was my responsibility to make sure I pick up the poo, wash it. And
Yes.
I was really bad at it. And I hope somebody also told me that don't leave your shoes outside overnight, because you can imagine what they do to the dog.
Yes.
I mean, to the shoes. Even hanging your clothes overnight and you have your dog there, you'll regret it the next morning. So, yeah.
So on Reddit, a couple of things about Malinois. This one, whether it's too cold, too hot, too wet, or too windy, when your dog is stuck indoors, they can easily get bored, which confirms what you say. And then this one, chews on everything, jumps on everything, licks everything while on cocaine. Also obsessed with cats. And somebody says, this describes my Malinois, who's called Drew. I thought I'd mention that very well. Okay, so things you wish you'd known about the pet that you acquired, either for yourself, perhaps for a younger family member, the things you wish you knew better about your particular kind of pet before you actually got one. Give us a call on that, 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. Linda says all Malinois are ADHD. It's 8 minutes to 5.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Well, at this time on every Monday, we focus on a particular aspect of the G20. South Africa, as you know, holds the presidency, and we're hosting the activities at all different levels. One of them involves business, and this B20 in brief is brought to you by Standard Bank, where Africa's voice meets the world stage. Now, last week, you might have heard us having a chat to Sim Shabalala, CEO of Standard Bank, but also in charge of one of 8 task forces that were created to look at various aspects of how we can enhance growth, deal with unemployment, not just here, but around the world. And amongst the task forces, he was dealing with finance and infrastructure. There was also another called Integrity and Compliance. And my next guest was involved in that. He's Professor Alex van den Heever from the Wits School of Governance. Prof, welcome and thanks very much for your time. What was your group looking at, and what do you feel you achieved?
I think you need to correct that. I wasn't involved.
Okay.
I reviewed the report.
Okay. Do tell us what was in the report.
Yeah, so my sense of these G20 discussions on issues like this is that they tend to be quite light touch, which because corruption and issues of integrity in government and in societal sort of interactions is quite a serious issue, and you have to get to the root of the matter. And if you tiptoe around them and really focus on issues like, digital governance and things like that, it's nice, but it really doesn't get to where the nub of it. And I think that if people are too polite about it, you don't really get anywhere.
Tell me broadly, I mean, you've been involved, I'm sure, in your academic and research life in looking for ways for research to be applied and put to use and have outcomes and so on. My concern always is if you've got large groups of people, impressive as all the CVs might be, what you may get is kind of consensus on something quite general. Did you get a sense that this group was driving in on a set of specifics and crucially doable specifics?
Yeah, so my sense is they're not really getting to the central concerns, and there's a problem with these kinds of reports in that they don't really begin with a proper diagnostic, which is what is actually the problem that you're trying to deal with. Because if you don't really go to identify that, it's very difficult to find solutions. And solutions themselves also require very careful examination because they can be context specific. So when you see a bland kind of generic report, you kind of instantly dismiss it as largely nebulous and kind of the stuff of polite conversation with senior people in the executive positions in the private sector and government, and completely unhelpful. So corruption in South Africa and in many countries around the world is a serious problem. And very often it involves the breakdown of governance structures and conflicts of interest, which are not addressed in this report. Those are the things that really drive corruption, people who can use their positions of public authority for private gain. And they can enter into cooperative arrangements with people in the private sector to do that. And that's exactly what happened with many major firms in South Africa in the private sector. They collaborated and are collaborating with corrupt officials in government, and they did so under apartheid as well.
I'm just thinking, Prof, I mean, if you try to bring together groups of wise people from many different parts of the world, on the one hand, you get the benefit of everybody's knowledge and varied experience and so on. But in the absence of an agreement to work collectively, I mean, for example, if you look at issues of integrity, for the sake of argument, since we've got a half an eye or at least an eye on this particular task force, isn't it crucial that everybody then goes back to their own countries and you actually hammer together agreements that have teeth, that if crooks from our part of the world are doing business with crooks in your part of the world, this is exactly what we're going to do? Does the G20 in general lend itself to that kind of thing, or does it tend to mainly work out agreements, in inverted commas, at the level of ideas, as opposed to pacts which commit everybody to doing X and Y?
I think that the danger of these discussions at this sort of level and in this process tend to be sort of more performative than really getting to the heart of matters, because these are such big issues. I mean, they're the elephants in the room are very difficult to get to, because if you start to do it, everything breaks apart. You've got rules, for instance, in the United States, anti-bribery requirements that were overturned by Trump. Says, no, it's fine, pay bribes to African countries. Get contracts and tenders, it doesn't matter. So what does that mean? And is China doing that? And is India doing that? And are their governments in a position to control that? And will they control it if you cooperate with them? And if there is endemic corruption at a government level, what kind of government-to-government agreements can you reach? So you can expect that in many cases they will absolutely avoid the issue, and anybody who's in the private sector involved in those discussions is very careful about what they say, because they don't want repercussions. So that means that these become sanitized discussions of no value whatsoever. So if you had to look at international bodies, structures that would actually create integrity, that would actually manage and see the illicit financial flows, that you would deal with the methods by which people evade tax compliance, etc., that are being legitimized by in other governments, for instance, the UK, the Netherlands, etc., get to it. But I think that at this level you don't get to these issues. You absolutely avoid them, and people tiptoe around them. So it actually falls to other kinds of processes to get to them. If we have to look at our problems in corruption, we've got a police commission that's now supposedly going to have a look. We've got you have real fights that you have to win the battle against corruption, not sort of tepid discussions and polite conversations over tea, which happens at these G20 arrangements.
Thanks very much, Professor Alex van den Heever, joining us from the Wits School of Governance. At the heart of global conversations shaping the future, Africa's voice matters more than ever. As Africa's largest bank by assets and lead sponsor of the B20 Summit, Standard Bank Group is proud to spotlight the continent's growth, partnerships and potential on the world stage. Through informed dialogue and powerful partnerships, Standard Bank is driving sustainable growth where it matters most. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
You've been in this game for a good few decades. Do you get the sense that things are getting much worse?
The only way we can answer that question is to say that bad actors are literally acting with impunity. Nobody seems safe, whether it's journalists, whether it's whistleblowers, whether it's investigators, insolvency practitioners, all are at risk. And it just shows us that with lack of consequence and accountability, people are acting out on what can only be termed one's worst nightmare.
Chad Thomas, crime expert from IRS Forensic Investigations.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9 featuring Netcare. Their group CEO, Dr. Richard Friedland, will be in conversation with Bongani Bingwa. Join us every Wednesday as we highlight the efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and make a difference together.
At Trinity House, authentic Christian values empower our students to succeed together. With passionate teachers and expert coaches, we support your child in reaching their full potential in the classroom and in life. Join us for our open day on Saturday, 13 September from 9 to 12 at our campuses in Centurion, Glen Vista, Rand Park Ridge and Little Falls. RSVP now at trinityhouse.co.za. Trinity House, succeeding together.
It all starts with advice from FNB Private. Because the perfect overseas trip starts with planning. Save and spend in multiple currencies with your FNB Global account and lock in exchange rates. Enjoy up to 40% off flights with eBucks Travel and order Forex on the FNB app delivered to you at no extra cost. Your adventure awaits. Unlock invaluable with FNB Private. Help changes everything. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider. TC's earn rules and limits apply.
This is EWN.
Witness protection a priority for the Madlanga Commission, and crime prevention wardens are not ready for guns yet. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. A highly qualified witness protection agency will be hired to safeguard witnesses appearing before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, probing allegations of interference in the criminal justice system. This was revealed during a media briefing at the Bridget Mabandla Justice College in Pretoria today, where the public hearings will begin next week. It was established by the President in July, just days after KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi made explosive allegations of corruption and collusion within the criminal justice system. Oren Singh reports.
The Judicial Commission of Inquiry into Criminality, Political Interference and Corruption in the Criminal Justice System claimed to have taken lessons from the Zondo Commission into state capture when it comes to witness protection. Speaking at a media briefing in Pretoria this afternoon, Commission spokesperson Jeremy Michaels stressed they have had to find ways around witness protection, given that the bodies responsible for it have been implicated in the allegations set out by KZN police boss Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi.
We are innovating, and we are not going to discuss those details in public.
Chief Evidence Leader Dr. Peter Goss revealed they are procuring a company that specializes in witness protection as a service provider.
We are procuring a service provider. We are dealing with a highly qualified service provider.
The Commission will commence with its public hearings next week, Wednesday. Oren Singh, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
The Gauteng government says the province's crime prevention wardens are not yet trained to handle firearms. The clarity follows concerns raised after 5 wardens were shot and injured yesterday. The wardens were shot during a regular patrol in Davidton, Ekurhuleni by a group of unknown individuals. All of the wardens suffered gunshot wounds, with 1 still in ICU, 1 being discharged from hospital and 3 in a stable condition. Tabisokoba has more.
Since the establishment of the Gauteng Crime Prevention Wardens, there has been concerns over their training and how equipped they are to deal with criminals in the country's most crime-ridden province. During a hospital visit to some of the injured wardens today, Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi, the brainchild behind the program, says their training is done on a continuous basis.
Obviously, they've not been trained at an advanced level where people expect them to be trained, because they were not meant to go toe-to-toe with CITs, for example. They're not meant to go toe-to-toe with taxi violence. They were meant to give additional support to law enforcement agencies. Now that they've been doing that for 3 years, we are of the strong view that we need to review.
No arrests have been made yet on the gunmen that shot the wardens. Tabisokoba, Eyewitness News.
Alleged underworld figure Vusumuzi Cat Matlala will remain behind bars until next week after the Alexandra Magistrates Court reserved judgment in his bail application. The 49-year-old businessman is accused of ordering a hit on his ex-girlfriend, actress Tebogo Tobejane, as in December of 2023. Matlala, his wife and 3 other co-accused face charges ranging from attempted murder and conspiracy to commit murder to money laundering. Mongezi Koko has more.
The defense told the court that the state has failed to produce direct evidence such as fingerprints or ballistics linking Matlala to the alleged hit. However, prosecutors argued that circumstantial evidence, including phone records, messages and bank transfers, paints a compelling picture of his involvement. The state also highlighted what it called red flags in his affidavit, including multiple trips to Eswatini, destroyed cell phones and a fake identity document. Magistrate Data Prinsloo postponed the matter for a formal ruling.
Sir, the matter is postponed for judgment until 17 September. I'm diarising it for 11 o'clock in the morning. Thank you. Then the applicant may step down.
Until then, Matlala will remain in custody. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News.
To this now, Trade and Industry Minister Park Stau says South Africa and Algeria are making progress on fresh trade relations as the continent looks inward for economic opportunities. Stau is in Algeria for the 4th Intra-African Trade Fair, where he is leading a delegation of 30 South African businesses showcasing their products and services. Part of the visit includes talks with Algeria's automotive sector amid a scramble for new markets following US President Donald Trump's punitive tariffs on all trade partners. Nogukanya Mdambo reports.
The meeting between South African and Algerian trade officials focused on implementing an existing memorandum of understanding on economic cooperation. Both sides agreed to establish trade routes to improve bilateral trade and market access for goods and services. The MOU, signed in December last year during the Binational Commission between Algeria and South Africa, covers cooperation in trade, industrial development and infrastructure. Trade and Industry Minister Park Stau says a proposal was also tabled for a joint trade and investment committee, which will act as a platform for the two countries to meet regularly and facilitate trade and investment. The two nations further agreed to enhance cooperation across multiple sectors, including oil and gas, automotive, infrastructure development, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, aviation, agriculture, and agro-processing. Nogukanya Mdambo, Eyewitness News.
And in Nepal, at least 16 protesters have been killed after police fired rubber bullets, tear gas and water cannons to disperse demonstrators demanding the government lift its ban on social media. Several social media sites, including Facebook, YouTube and X, have been inaccessible in Nepal since Friday. This after government blocked 26 unregistered platforms, leaving users angry and confused. Waving national flags, young demonstrators in the capital started the protest today with the national anthem before unleashing chants against the ban and corruption. Violence erupted in the streets as police charged at the protesters, some of whom climbed over the wall into Parliament's premises. Gold is trading at $3,612.17 an ounce. The rand is at 17.56 to the dollar, 23.72 to the pound, 20.58 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $65.50 a barrel.
Leaving the Pretoria CBD, there's bumper traffic. This is driving through Hermanstad on Eskiam Pahlele between WF Nkomo and the R80, while in Alex traveling towards Germiston, you can still expect about an hour delay. N3 southbound between the Patloo interchange and Morafontein Road, and in Sunninghill, traffic gridlocked on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Maxwell Drive.
And in your sport, fresh-faced Springbok backline named to face off against the All Blacks in Rugby Championship encounter. Barcelona woman feeling club's financial crisis, and Yannick Sinner says he was predictable in his final loss at the US Open to Carlos Alcaraz.
A partly cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, with isolated showers and thundershowers expected. Joburg dropping to overnight lows of 12 degrees, peaking at 27. Pretoria 15 and 28, and Vereeniging 11 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: a highly qualified witness protection agency will be hired to safeguard witnesses appearing before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, which is probing allegations of interference in the criminal justice system.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
10 minutes past 5 on 702 Drive. Good to have you with us for the last hour of the show. Coming up, we're going to focus our attention on the aftermath of the brutal murder of attorney Boa van Niekerk. He was involved in the world of forensic investigation, also in a business rescue matter that has been extensively analyzed over the weekend. This has raised huge concerns for people working in the field, and in a moment we'll chat to Craig Pedersen, who is a forensic investigator, about the ripple effects, the chilling effect of not just this killing, but for example the murder of Cluta Murray and his son Thomas 2.5 years ago. Little progress made in the police investigation, and some indications actually in today's News 24, if you read Carl Cowan's piece, he's stuck with that story, that some of the investigation has been, to put it mildly, a little bit poorly done. So Craig Pedersen joins us, and then the wider implications of the murder of auditors, because we know that the senior auditor out in Ekurhuleni was murdered after investigating corruption at that particular metro. The list is a long one. Nicole Fritz from the Campaign for Free Expression, where she is the executive director, will give us her view on the wider implications of this for our democracy. Keep your calls coming, please, and your WhatsApp voice notes. We asked you the question about dogs and other pets, things you wish you knew before you acquired a pet. Emmy has a very interesting point to make, which I'll share with you in a moment, if I could just scroll down and find it. I'll dig it out in a moment. But your WhatsApp voice notes, please, to 072 702 1702. Here we go. Emmy says, this is why you need to research breeds before you get a dog. Some people buy dogs because they saw the breed in a movie. Dog ownership is not for everyone. It is a commitment. Some of you as well commenting on the questions. I was asking, disappointed when the Springboks lose, but are some of you starting to question what the coach and the team are doing at the moment? Very much changing aspects of the style of play. Are you still with the program? Are you keeping the faith? Are you on the bus? Or are you, perhaps like me, glancing out of the window from time to time and saying, not sure what's going on here? Anyway, a few of you have responded on 072 702 1702. Let's take a listen.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
I work for the SPCA, and I have to say that your description of a Malinois is spot on, because every Malinois we come across is exactly that, ADHD child, but we love them.
Hey, Prajon, good afternoon. Prajon, I think it's important to remember that in sport, you can't expect a team to win every single match. Losing is part of the game, Prajon, just as much as winning. So what matters is how the team learns and how they grow and they come back stronger. The Springboks has given us plenty of wins, plenty to be proud of, Prajon, to this day. And just one loss doesn't take away anything from that. You know, that's my 2 cents thinking, Prajon. Thanks, bye.
With way more than 2 cents, Jabu, I would suggest. Thank you for that. By the way, I've referred to it before, but I continue to recommend it as a terrific book about sports. It's called The Right Call. It's written by a sports journalist in the US, Sally Jenkins. The subtitle is What Sports Teach Us About Work and Life. And in one of the chapters, she interviews the coach of one of the most successful coach in women's basketball at the University of Tennessee. And there was a line that really stuck with me. She said, do you think your team can win again? Because they were the defending national champions. And the coach said, if we lose one game, maybe. She said, but if we lose 2 games, definitely. And the point she was making is the one Jabu's just made, that in those defeats, if you've got a very clear idea of your ultimate goal, you can use those defeats to learn. So, cool. Lovely. Thank you for those voice notes. We'll play some more in a moment, but not before we've given you the very latest traffic.
EWN Traffic.
This Eyewitness News traffic is brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. Right, let's find out what's happening out in the roads. Midrand was difficult. Sunning Hill is becoming part of the problem.
Yeah, no, it's a biggie there in the Sunning Hill area. Traffic gridlocked on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Maxwell Drive. Also in the Bryanston area heading towards Four Ways, bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N1 southbound from the Between Interchange to Winnie Mandela Drive in the Alex area. Expect about an hour delay traveling towards Germiston N3 South from the Between Interchange all the way to Modderfontein Road. Sandton, also heavy delays on the M1 northbound. This is heading towards Midrand between Ethel Oaklands and the Between Interchange while traveling through the Joburg CBD. Traffic is a bit sluggish on the M1 southbound from Killarney Bends to the Crown Interchange. Devland, we still have those roadworks. Roadworks causing delays on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue, and in the city of Tshwane leaving the Pretoria CBD. Traffic congested in Hermanstad on Eskiam Patlele between WF and Nkomo and the R80. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
20 years ago, you were being driven to your matric dance, and 20 years ago, the Outsurance pointsmen were on the roads easing traffic congestion. Whether you're an Outsurance client or not, we've all been getting something out. Show the Outsurance pointsmen some love this month and celebrate this 20th anniversary using hashtag pointsmenlove. From Johannesburg, Tshwane and Paarl to Stellenbosch, let's celebrate. Outsurance really means it when they say you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702 Afternoons
with Relebohile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
So maybe you can just touch on the fact that legally grandparents can go to court for access to grandchildren, but we also are fully aware that there are valid reasons why grandparents sometimes do get cut out of the lives of children.
It is important for grandparents to remain important connection to their families, especially their grandchildren, because what we've seen in today's families or systems, we find that there's a cultural drift where children cannot longer learn important rituals that families used to have.
Dr. Leta Selamulela Musima.
702 Afternoons
with Relebohile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
At the heart of global conversations shaping the future, Africa's voice matters more than ever. As Africa's largest bank by assets and lead sponsor of the B20 Summit, Standard Bank Group is proud to spotlight the continent's growth, partnerships and potential on the world stage. Through informed dialogue and powerful partnerships, Standard Bank is driving sustainable growth where it matters most. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
One festival, endless flavor, and 2 unforgettable days of timeless music. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, returns on 20 and 21 September at Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. On Saturday, the stage erupts with Don Toliver, Questa, and Nkabi Zezwe. Then on Sunday, experience the legendary Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, Lyra, and more. The DSTV Delicious Festival, powered by Lotto Star. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
Dreaming of your next getaway? Whether it's a sun-soaked beach escape, adventure-packed tour, or luxury cruise, Flight Center is your go-to for travel. From flights and hotels to tours and cruises, we've got it all. Plus travel insurance for peace of mind. If you want the best deals, you can save more by taking advantage of our Bundle Plus Save offer. Plan your trip today at your nearest Flight Center store or visit flightcenter.co.za. Flight Center, your center for travel.
Your workday calls for more performance, more doing the impossible, more challenge accepted. Your weekends demand more excitement, more detours, more limitless living. And the new GWM P300 LS is where it all comes together. Bring it on in the new P300 LS with a 2.0 3.4 turbo diesel and 12.3-inch touchscreen from only $5,999 per month. Visit gwm.co.za for T's and C's and to book a test drive. GWM, go with more. Brought to you by GWM Finance, a division of Westbank, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. Well, there's been a lot of discussion in the aftermath of the assassination of lawyer Boa van Niekerk about what appears to be a real campaign against lawyers, investigators, auditors, and others involved in dealing with a huge volume of corruption in this country. Now, it does appear that what was being investigated by Boa van Niekerk was not a question of corruption in the state. This was a private sector company that was being investigated, and the allegations were that it was being run as some kind of Ponzi scheme. Either way, for people working in this field, the risks are high, and it would seem as if the threats are growing. Craig Pedersen is a forensic investigator and joins us now on 702 Drive. Mr. Pedersen, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time today. Shocking news. I'm sure it was shocking for people who are not involved in this field at all, but what kind of conversations have people in your field been having? You know, I'm sure not just prompted by the killing of Boa van Niekerk, but the killing of the Murrays as well, and the killing of Mpoma Fole, head of forensic auditors at the city of Ekurhuleni, for example, in June this year. The list is a long one. What are colleagues of yours saying?
Thanks for having me on the show. I think the conversation and the undertones are obviously one of shock and an obvious outpouring of grief at the waste of a very young and promising career. But the conversation itself and the thread of the conversation is by no means one that is new within the industry.
Yes.
We all know the risks involved with the industry, and it is patently difficult for a forensic investigator, a forensic auditor, even an accountant, or anybody ancillary to the profession, not to have the occasional file that slips across their desk that has some dangerous, connected, or otherwise dodgy characters involved. It's inevitable. It's a question of time before it does happen. Does it ratify in any way what's happened here? No, it doesn't.
Sure.
Liquidations are obviously volatile. You know, people, their business has failed, whether it's a legal scheme or an illegal scheme. It's the implosion of their life and their lifestyle, and that lashing out to blame somebody could, I suppose, be understood, although they're lashing out in the wrong place.
Yes.
It is never, ever going to justify or make any sense of this and many other killings, going all the way back to the beaches, decorum, and even further.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when threats are made, Mr. Pedersen, I mean, is it every man and woman to protect themselves, or do we need to reframe our thinking in the country and say, you know, somebody else needs to get involved? I guess that I have no idea who.
I think that's part of the conundrum. You know, should we in the industry be having 24-hour security? No, we actually shouldn't. We should be left alone to do our work. You know, we're just wheels in a cog. But the reality is it looks like it's coming to that. Yes, there can be good investigation afterwards, but it's after the fact. It's still post facto. It doesn't help. Can we rely on the police for this level of protection? No. I mean, the VIP protection budget for the state officials alone is already equal to that of the DPCI.
Yes.
Nobody in the industry would want the police spending more money on protective services. We want them spending less and more on DPCI and specialized units.
We could of course redeploy the money. Sorry to cut in.
Well, yes, I have to agree. You know, there'd be a lot better uses for it.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I think industry-wise, it's going to be that every practitioner is going to have to tend to their own security. And I think we are going to reach a point where practitioners and even possibly liquidators are actually going to have their identities withheld at court, so that they're referenced by number and they're not referenced by name, so that they can get on with the work.
Craig Pedersen, thank you, forensic investigator with some thoughts. Well, of course, this is a law and order matter. It is a matter of personal tragedy, and our condolences to the family and friends of Boa van Niekerk. And then, of course, it is a matter of, I guess it raises profound questions about the state of our democracy. Let's explore those now with my next guest, Nicole Fritz, Executive Director at the Campaign for Free Expression. Ms. Fritz, welcome and thanks very much for your time. Each time this happens, people talk about an extent of lawlessness that is getting wider and deeper. What are your own thoughts about this? I would have thought this is a national problem that we shouldn't get accustomed to.
I mean, that's absolutely correct, and not just that we shouldn't grow accustomed to, but I think that this is a kind of really critical moment. The fact that assassins were able to enter the premises at 10 a.m. on a Friday morning, mid-morning, broad daylight, in a very densely populated neighborhood, a highly trafficked thoroughfare running alongside it, and could gun down Boa van Niekerk as they did, I think speaks to a completely shameless sense of lawlessness and impunity that can be enjoyed, and I think that is frightening, and more than frightening, I think it is icily chilling for all those involved in trying to secure accountability in our country.
Who should be responding with greater urgency and purpose than they have? I mean, generally, when this happens, we look at government, and then I suspect a lot of people shrug and say, well, they're not going to do anything about it, but maybe that's letting them off the hook.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is. I mean, I just saw a comment from Jeff Wicks, who's obviously just published the book Controversies, and it is, the fulcrum of a long-time investigation on his part into her murder, her assassination, which we actually just memorialized 4 years ago last month. And a sense that, him hoping that there would be more justice for Niekerk's family than there has been for Babita Diakarand, and saying perhaps that hope is futile. And that may be it, that we essentially say there is no more that can be asked of government. They have, the police, our criminal justice system have shown themselves to be sort of hopeless in these situations. But I think that is to give ourselves over to a mafia state,
yes,
to accept that premise. And I think, as much as it might sound like we're just grinding the wheels and saying the same things, if we're not insisting on urgent and swift response from our policing forces, I think it is basically to say we have given ourselves over to a mafia state.
Nicole Fritz, thank you, Executive Director at the Campaign for Free Expression. As these auditors and whistleblowers and business rescue practitioners, whether they're investigating the abuse and theft of money in the public or private sectors, find themselves facing increasing risk, and in the case of Boa van Niekerk paying the ultimate price, who should be doing more? And I guess your answer could be either a mix of what you hope would happen or what you realistically think might happen. Because they're slightly different things. One brings down a sense, I would imagine, of a familiar kind of dismay, and the other might be energizing if we could think of how we might address this, because addressed it must be. I'm not clear on how. 28 minutes past 5.
EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis with an update on a day in which gold is flying, hey?
John, absolutely. Good afternoon. I mean, it's nearly at $3,650 an ounce at the moment. I mean, it really is. And I mean, I've kind of run out of words to describe gold, and I think you've noticed this over the last couple of weeks, but it really is just extraordinary. The ore share, the JSE ore share up 1.22% at 102,772 points. Financials up 1.19%. Industrials up 0.15%. And resources Resources up 3.19% on the day, largely because of what's been happening with gold. So Pan-African Resources, they're up 10.48% on the day. We're seeing Sibanye up 5.5%, and then some of the platinum miners doing very nicely as well on the day, as you would expect. So Implats, Northam, Valterra, all up by around 4%. Platinum does sort of move in tandem with gold for various complicated reasons. Investec are up 6%, John, a very strong day for them. Gold is at the end of full time for African Rainbow Minerals. They're down 3.23%. That was after their results last week. And Sun International, they're down 1.1%. So the massive rise in online gambling is having a big impact on them. Its headline earnings per share are up 60% in the 6 months to the end of June. There was a 70% increase in income from its Sunbet platform. But the group is warning it may have to make some changes to parts of its business model. There's pressure on the casino market, and we'll sort of get into that when you speak to the CEO a little later on the Money Show. Metrofile, their headline earnings up by over 13%, also saying that many of its clients are asking them to destroy the physical documents that they hold. Everything's moving to the cloud, obviously, and I presume they face a bit more competition there than they would in the physical space. Then in the United States, well, there was a higher opening. It's turned a little bit more tentative. It seems to be going green again. There is expectation now, after last week's soft jobs numbers, that there will be an interest rate cut by the US Federal Reserve next week. The Dow Jones is up 0.25%, the Nasdaq is up 0.79%, and the S&P 500 is up 0.39%. The gold price now, $3,644.41, platinum $1,398.70, Brent crude $66.12, the rand to the dollar 17.50, to the euro 20.57, to the British pound 23.71 on the Money Show. So the CEO of Sun International will speak to Azar Jamin about changes that seem to make it easier for smaller firms to dismiss workers. I think there'll be a bit of a political fight over that, John. We'll also talk about the salaries that are being paid to domestic workers. And then also this evening from 7:30, we'll speak to someone who makes a living from farming, wait for it, earthworms. Not making that up. Squiggly earthworms is what she makes her money out of. Stephen Cruttis, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. Looking forward to the Money Show tonight between 6 and 8. At 29 minutes to 6, let's get the very latest eyewitness news. Here's Mpali Dlamini. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Despite serious concerns by the Human Rights Commission over planned mass informal settlement evictions in Gauteng, Premier Panyaza Lesufi insists they will go ahead. The Commission has labelled the plans inhumane after Lesufi warned about the unprecedented dismantling of illegal dwellings in the province soon. Lesufi made the announcement at a media briefing last week, announcing the operations would unfold at the crack of dawn while people slept. Lesufi's comments have attracted attention from the Human Rights Commission, who said his rhetoric was dangerous. Speaking to media today, Lesufi says the Commission has nothing to worry about.
And I don't understand, because our approach has been very simple. We'll do everything within the law. We've never propagated that we'll do anything outside the law. And we still maintain that stand. And I don't want to be in a tussle with the South African Human Rights Commission. They play a very important role, and I support the role that they play.
The organisation Undoing Tax Abuse has welcomed the Johannesburg City Council's decision to scrap its controversial CCTV bylaws. The regulation, introduced earlier this year, faced multiple legal challenges that prevented it from being enforced. It seeks to regulate and register private CCTV cameras installed in homes and businesses across Johannesburg. It also required owners of cameras capturing public spaces, such as roads, to register them with the city and obtain permission before removing or adjusting them. Outers executive Stephanie Fick.
Repealing this CCTV bylaw is definitely a victory for common sense. It was never about safety. It was about squeezing Joburg residents for more money. We want City of Joburg to focus on what really matters, not cooking up schemes to milk residents who are already paying high rates. Bye-bye bylaw.
A report looking into early childhood development in the country has revealed that a significant number of children entering the education system lack foundational skills that guarantee them academic success. Today's Basic Education Minister, Siviwe Kahube, weighed in on the findings, saying the revelation is concerning and is a crisis that needs urgent intervention. The latest Thrive by 5 Index report was shared in Sandton, Johannesburg today, and it provides critical data for guiding educational policy. Has more.
The report, described by Data Drive Director Sonia Giza as a wake-up call, paints a stark picture of a crisis that she says affects every South African. The index is based on direct assessments of more than 5,000 children in the 4-year-old age bracket attending early learning programs. It tracked progress in 3 core areas of development, including early learning, physical growth with a focus on stunting, and social-emotional functioning. The index revealed that only 42% of those children enrolled in early learning programs are on track for early learning, with girls far ahead of boys who are struggling. Giza says the gaps reflect underlying inequalities in home environments, nutrition, stimulation, and classroom quality, which underscores the need for targeted investment in early learning. Tandul Ngcobo, Eyewitness News.
And the International Criminal Court has postponed a crimes against humanity hearing against former Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte while judges weigh his fitness to take part. Duterte was scheduled to appear at the ICC in 2 weeks' time to hear the charges over his year-long campaign against drug users and dealers that rights groups say killed thousands of people. But the court decided to adjourn the hearing until it can rule on a defense motion that the 80-year-old was not fit to stand trial. Duterte was arrested in Manila earlier this year, flown to the Netherlands that very same evening, and has been held at the ICC's detention unit prison since then. A partly cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, with isolated showers and thundershowers expected. Lows of between 11 and 15 degrees and highs of between 27 and 28.
Leaving the Pretoria CBD, traffic congested in Hermanstad on Eskiam Patlele between WF and Nkomo and the R80, while in Alex heading towards Germiston, you can still expect about an hour delay. On the N3 southbound from the Between interchange to Modderfontein Road, and in the Sunning Hill area, expect some delays on Witkoppen Road. This is between Main Road and Maxwell Drive.
The top story in EWN, despite serious concerns by the Human Rights Commission over planned mass informal settlement evictions in Gauteng, Premier Panyaza Lesufi insists they will go ahead.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
We have over 700 new Metro Police officers who will be graduating, and many of those will be deployed to, in fact, 5, I think, on average per ward, to work alongside the SAPS in order to obviously fight social ills.
We are always striving for working together with various law enforcement agencies, and that is why we signed the cooperation agreement last year already. We will bring our resources, let us join hands together.
Brigadier Atlenda Mate, national spokesperson for the South African Policing Services.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
The South African Future Trust Summit's premium entrepreneurial showcase returns to the Sandton Convention Centre on 5th and 6th November, bringing together entrepreneurs with bold ideas and big ambition. Come and witness the big pitch, where our 10 finalists will compete for the coveted $1 million business investment. Join masterclasses with industry experts who'll share valuable knowledge on relevant topics and seize the opportunity to pitch your business ideas to leading investors. Don't miss out. Limited seats are available. Book yours now at summit.southafricanfuturetrust.org in partnership with 702.
Saddle up for springtime success with Hollywood Bets. Experience the thrill of the turf and take a shot at a share of 100,000 Rand in cash and betting vouchers. All you have to do is bet 50 Rand or more on any horse racing meeting online or visit your nearest branch to enter. Spring into action and bet now for your shot at exciting rewards.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
So, Taryn, you've just graduated cum laude, but nothing says you're a genius quite like selling your car to Reeva Cars.
Absolutely. My car was an 18th birthday present, and it's time to move on to something a bit more mature.
So, where did you hear about Reeva Cars?
All of my friends are using Reeva Cars. I would have had legit FOMO if I hadn't used them. And it was so quick. I did it on my laptop while sending around my CV.
Smart move, Taryn. Graduated and upgraded. We Buy Cars. Geared for success, geared for you.
EWN Sport.
Okay, let's get back onto the sports fields or the boardrooms or the courts sometimes. Who knows? Anthony Teixeira has the usual mix. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. Well, we'll start with football, where reigning PSL player of the season, Lucas Ribeiro, announced his departure from Mamelodi Sundowns on Instagram. It brings an end to a 2-year successful spell at the club, where he won the Betway Premiership both seasons. Man City and the Premier League have reached a settlement in their disputes over the rules that govern commercial deals. City have accepted the rules governing associated party transactions are valid and binding. Barcelona's women have been feeling the pinch over the club's financial woes. They head into the season with just 17 first-teamers, a few short of a full matchday squad, while a further 17 players have been forced to leave the Spanish Giants during the transfer window. An Athletic Bilbao defender, Yere Alvarez, has been hit with a 10-month ban after testing positive for prohibited substance Caneronone. A centre-back acknowledged to taking the medication to combat hair loss following treatment for testicular cancer. In rugby, the Springbok head coach Rassie Erasmus has made 7 changes to the starting team to play New Zealand in the Rugby Championship on Saturday from the one that lost this past Saturday. Erasmus admits that some players were dropped after underwhelming performances.
So, we win this game, we're back in the Rugby Championship mix, and we still are right in world rankings. So it's a bit of both. Obviously some players, like some coaches, some of us, disappointed. But I don't think it was through a lack of trying, though.
And Yannick Sinner believes his lack of versatility lets him down in the US Open final. The Italian lost the men's Open singles title to Carlos Alcaraz Sunday evening.
I was very predictable today, on court. He did many things. He changed up the game. That's also his style of how he plays. Now it's gonna be on me if I want to make changes or not, So that's definitely, we are gonna work on that. Trying to be more prepared for the next match, what I will play against him.
For Carlos Alcaraz, he's back to world number 1 in the rankings for the first time since 2023. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
At 19 minutes to 6, this Eyewitness News Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. Problems in the Pretoria CBD. Karabo Chale has the details.
Yeah, that's driving through Hermanstad. If you're leaving the Pretoria CBD, traffic is a bit congested. This is on Eskiam Pahlele between WF Nkomo and the R80. Also traveling towards Germiston, you can still expect about an hour delay. This is in the LX area, N3 South. Between the Baclou interchange and Modderfontein Road, Bryanston. Also traffic heavily backed up on the N1 southbound heading towards Four Ways from the Baclou interchange to Winnie Mandela Drive. Sunninghill, traffic gridlocked on Witkoppen Road between Main and Maxwell Drive, while in Sandton heading towards Midrand. Bumper-to-bumper traffic, M1 North. This is between Ethel Oaklands and the Baclou interchange, while in the Devland area, we still have those roadworks on the Golden Highway, slowing down traffic between the N1 and Union Avenue. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like the eager beaver driving to meet the woman of his dreams. Butterflies in his stomach, GPS on full volume. He checks his hair for the 7th time. Looking good. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's a possible love story on the move. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 17 minutes to 6, so time for us and a real opportunity to end the show with some music, as we do every Monday to Thursday. Of course, on a Friday, we do what we call a song, a book, and a dish. If you missed our conversation, by the way, with Justice Edwin Cameron, please do go back and have a listen to it. You'll find that on primemediaplus.com. He had some very, very interesting stories to tell and some interesting things to say, not least about his ability to cook, dance, and what was the other one? I'm trying to remember. Cook, dance, and sing. There we go. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And you can pick that up, as I said, on primemediaplus.com. Now, I'm not sure why we've come up with this topic, but this is what we are doing today. Some of you wake up bright and early and you are already invincible, and you can get out of bed and tackle the day, even if it's just in your own mind, and nothing is going to faze you. And then there are other people I have known in my life who don't get into the day quite as easily and quickly. I happen to be a morning person, by the way, but that doesn't mean I can listen to any music. In fact, I almost never play music in the morning. I'm not sure why I do this to myself. I usually listen to the news, but that's possibly because it's part of my job. Anyway, the question we want to ask you today is, what is that song that you absolutely cannot listen to first thing in the morning? Normally we ask you for things you love and songs that you absolutely adore, but today we're reversing it and flipping it and asking you for that song that, please do not play it for me first thing in the morning. Send that to us on 072 7021 702 or give us a call on 011 883 0702. Maybe it's a song, by the way. It could be a song that you actually can deal with later in the day, but certainly not first thing. Reeva Steenkamp putting the show together this week alongside Jonathan Fairbairn. Good afternoon, Reeva. You have a song that is just absolutely not. Is it your never in the day song, or is it just in the morning?
Good afternoon, John, and to the rest of the 702 family. Before I answer that, I just want to say, before I get attacked by the beehive, I think Beyonce is a beautiful artist and she's talented, and I don't want the beehive coming to attack me. So the song that I absolutely cannot, I repeat, cannot wake up to is called Texas Hold'em. I believe that this song is from last year, because I started hearing it from last year, and the album is Cowboy Carter. I just can't. I mean, it's a catchy song, but I find it quite irritating.
Okay, so if we want to annoy you in the morning, and I can think of no reason why we would, we will play for you this particular Beyonce song.
This ain't Texas, ain't no hold'em. So lay your cards down, 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 down. So park your Lexus and throw your keys up. Stick around, round, 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 round. Stick around. And I'll be damned if I can't slow dance with you. Come pour some sugar on me, honey, too. It's a real live boogie and a real live hold down. Don't be a come take it to the floor now. Woo! There's a tornado in my city. It's the basement. That ain't pretty. Rugged whiskey. We surviving. Of red cup kisses, sweet redemption, passing time, yeah. Ooh, one step to the right. We headed to the dive bar we always thought was nice. To the left, then spin me in the middle, boy, I can't read your mind. This ain't Texas, ain't no hold'em. Lay your cards down, 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 down. So park your Lexus and throw your keys up. Stick around, round, 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 round. And I'll be damned if I can't slow dance with you.
So, do not play that to Reeva Steenkamp first thing in the morning. What is the song that you absolutely cannot deal with first thing in the morning? And by the way, it might be something that you are happy to listen to later in the day, but I think I get the impression that this particular song, nominated for Grammy Song of the Year, didn't win. Nominated for Best Country Song, didn't win that either. And the album it came from, Cowboy Carter Record of the Year. Nevertheless, it's not going to work for the co-producer of 702 After Drive. Afternoon Drive. Other songs that you just cannot listen to first thing in the morning. Drop them off for us, please, on 072 702 1702. And if you want to call and chat and argue in favor, perhaps, of the songs people don't like, give me a call. 011 8830 702. It's 11 minutes to 6.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
You've been in this game for a good few decades. Do you get the sense that things are getting much worse?
The only way we can answer that question is to say that bad actors are literally acting with impunity. Nobody seems safe, whether it's journalists, whether it's whistleblowers, whether it's investigators, insolvency practitioners, all are at risk. And it just shows us that with lack of consequence and accountability, people are acting out on what can only be termed one's worst nightmare.
Chad Thomas, crime expert from IRS Forensic Investigations.
The Midday Report
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
In ancient Corinth, as Alexander the Great approached the philosopher Diogenes and offered to grant him any wish, Diogenes simply replied, "Stand a little out of my sun." At Plus 94 Research, we believe in illuminating the path to informed decisions. By removing the shadows of uncertainty, we let the light of data-driven insights shine through. Don't let assumptions cloud your vision. Step into the light of clarity. Plus 94 Research, the science of decision-making.
When I say insurance, you say pineapple. Insurance.
Pineapple.
Insurance.
Pineapple.
Insurance.
Pineapple.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
Brush, stroke, paint, color, protect, and admire. From roof paint to exterior textures and interior silk, Warrior Paints has it all. The product range and stylish colors are amazing. And what's more, Warrior Paints has crushed prices for incredible savings. Enjoy that good old-fashioned personal service you deserve. For price, quality, variety, and service, Warrior Paints is street ahead. Warrior Paints, affordable, lasting, luxury.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John. Beehive here. Definitely coming after you, Rufio, for that. Like, why are we catching stray bullets here? No, man. Nah, leave my girl out of this mess. Tsegofatso from Pretoria.
Yes, good afternoon, John. Good afternoon. It's Donald, man. I'm in Tembisa. Man, you cannot play Mendoza and Galagata. Early in the morning, man. Wake up in the morning, going to work. You are playing Mendoza and Galagata. Man, that one is for weekends, like on Fridays, not in Galagata, please. It's Donald here with Tembisa.
Okay, so no Nkalakata first thing in the morning, unless, of course, you think that that's the best way to start a day. We do not mind having debates about songs that you simply cannot play early in the morning. This one from Badimo. Please do not play Right Said Fred. I'm too sexy in the morning. Okay. I can't promise you that we'll never, ever, ever play it. We won't play it in the morning, but that's easy because we're only on in the afternoon. Elvis, please, John, please, never ever play any of my piano music in the morning. I'm a news person. I listen to News 24/7. All right, I cannot speak for Bongani Bingwa, but I suppose I was talking about the kind of music that you play yourself. In fact, does anyone actually put music on in the morning? I don't know if many people do. Let's hear from you again, 072 702 1702.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Hello 702. My name's Athena. The song I can't listen to in the morning is Astronaut in the Ocean. Bye.
Hi John. The song that really irritated my boyfriend was during the World Cup. My alarm on my phone was Waka Waka. So you can just imagine that. Take care. Bye.
Astro, no. What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. Ay, what you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. She say that I'm cool. I'm like, yeah, that's true. I believe in G-O-D, don't believe in T-H-O-T. She keep playing me dumb, I'm a player for fun. Y'all don't really know my mental, let me give you the picture like stencil. Falling out in a drought, no flow rain wasn't pouring down. See that pain was all around, see my mode was kinda lounge. Didn't know which way to turn, flow was cool but I still felt burned. Energy up, you can feel my surge, I'ma kill everything like this purge. Let's just get this straight for a second. I'ma work, even if I don't get paid for progression. I'ma get it. Everything that I do is electric. I'ma keep it in.
Yeah, I don't think I will listen to that in the morning. Astronaut in the Ocean, the Australian rapper Masked Wolf released that in 2019. Now, Bruce says, please, 2 exclamation marks. Nothing by Michael Bolton, especially how can we be lovers if we can't be friends? My ears are too sensitive to listen to abrasive squawking early in the morning. I would think, Bruce, that you wouldn't really, if that's your view of Michael Bolton, want to listen to him at any time of the day, but we'll make sure it doesn't infiltrate your waking hour.
They say
Yeah, okay, sorry about that, Bruce. But I did say we would keep Michael Bolton out of things. I promised for the morning. But yeah, I work with the team and they thought they need to just test your forbearance. So the question we asked was, what is a song that you absolutely cannot bear to hear first thing in the morning?
John, this is Linley from Johannesburg. The worst thing to listen to early in the morning is anything my youngest son wants to play on the school trip. It always deals with food for some reason. I'm a gummy bear or it's raining tacos. Those are the worst things to hear in the morning.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close.
for my love. Too sexy for my love. Love's going to leave me. So sexy it hurts, and I'm too sexy for Milan.
Bruce says he's just poured himself a glass of red to get over Michael Bolton, and someone else says, do not play the taco song anytime. From all of us, good night.
And now, The Money Show.
With Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And DSTV channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA CIB, equipping you with efficient and secure cash management solutions for your business.